This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Wednesday. Carla, Holiday, good evening. Welcome in. I'm not high enough for this shit. Not going to be able to remedy that tonight, but we'll work on it. You know, some shit had to be going on if I took last night off on a night when Nancy Mace shared her nudes in Congress. Boy, I'd already decided I was going to take last night off by the time I saw that. I'm like, wow, what a night to take off. Nancy Mace shared her nudes during a fucking hearing. But we'll talk about it tonight. My apologies. I had some shit going on. We'll get to it, Holiday. We'll get to it. Holiday's like, where? Basically what happened last night is I was under a tornado watch. I didn't even come until like the fucking storm didn't happen until like midnight, 1 o'clock. It just looked like it was going to storm from 3, 4 o'clock on. It got pitch black. So some of you may know, I've got a birthday coming up next week. Yesterday, I bought my birthday presents. Bought a couple video games. One of them was Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I was saving it until after the show to play it. And then it got pitch fucking black at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It started lightning and shit. And I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time to play Resident Evil 4. And so I started playing Resident Evil and just didn't stop. Sorry, that's why I didn't show up last night. But that happened. I also bought Final Fantasy VI Remaster, the Pixel Remaster. And I'm already like fucking like 6 hours into that motherfucker. I'm way into the story already. Because like I'm like childhood, man, childhood. And the Pixel Remasters are really well done. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. So happy birthday to me. Curiouser got us tickets to go see Jim Jeffries for my birthday. Not gonna be seeing him on my birthday, but got me tickets for my birthday. So I get to see Jim Jeffries in like a month, I think, 2 months. Yay! He's a comedian. You may be familiar with like his biggest sketch was or his biggest bit was how he took his friend's brother with muscular dystrophy to a Australian brothel, and hilarity ensued.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Wasn't expecting it, but hey, it fit. Smokey, Jesus fucking Christ. And Smokey's driving me up the walls. Because once again, this is a cat that when I'm in bed wanting Smokey to come cuddle, does he fucking come cuddle? No, he doesn't. If I'm sitting in my recliner playing video games, I'm like, Smokey, come lay with me. Does he want to lay with me? No. But when I am sitting in this fucking chair doing my work, Smokey is here. He's smacking the keyboard. He's putting his head in my face so I can't. Trying to type an email this morning. He's like all up in my shit. I'm like, God damn it, Smokey. You don't want anything to do with me. And here he comes again. God damn it, Smokes. But then last night it's storming. Like, oh, you got to ball up. You got to be all up in my chest and shit because you're scared of fucking lightning. I'm burnt out. I might have to take more days off. I might not be here tomorrow. I won't be here Saturday. Saturday is the day that Curiouser and I are going to do my birthday dinner. She's making me peanut butter fudge lasagna. It's what I looked it up. I found what I wanted, and I'm like, oh, this. Once again, like, I'd never ask her to make these things for me. Just like with last year, I showed her what I wanted. More than happy to make it myself, and she's like, no, I'll make it for you. So she's making that and bringing it over on Saturday. Taking me to the weed store and all that good shit. So I won't be here Saturday. Maybe not Friday either. Who fucking knows? And it's not that I'm burnt out for, like, I love doing the Troll Patrol. I love this show. Please don't get me wrong. When I say burnt out, I mean I am burnt out sitting behind a fucking computer screen all goddamn day. I'm burnt out doing video work all the fucking time. My eyes are going bad. And staring at screens are not helping it, and I'm starting to get headaches all the time and shit. It's just a thing, and I'm tired at the moment because this is the world we grew up in versus the world we live in now. And the news is, I fucking love doing the news. I'd keep up with what's going on even if I didn't do the Troll Patrol, but fucking, it's a bit of a. It's an emotional slog. And I keep telling you I'm not high enough to fucking cover this shit. You guys won't listen to me. Jesus. Mary Jane, I'm sorry. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I know you told me not to do the knuckle tattoos, but I'm kind of into it. MS-13 on my knuckles. BFK for life, motherfuckers. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Let me get more high. Is there anything left in my bong? I fell asleep in my recliner last night, so there's probably something left in my bong. I'm dying over here. Are we talking about Brittany? No, I think she looks way better over here. No, I think everything about her is better on the right. But that's just me. I would. Yeah, I would, DJ Dub. You're exactly right. No, I did not, and I'm like that age too, right? Like, I think Hit Me Baby One More Time was like my 8th grade year, maybe my 7th grade year. So like I should have totally been into Britney Spears. I should have, had the crush on her, but I did not. Was not into her music, was not into her look. I think I found Jessica Simpson far more attractive, but as a person, I think I'd be far more into Britney, especially with the knives. Oh shit, did I run down what we're talking about tonight? We'll wing it. We'll freeball it. Clinically. Good evening. You guys should know what's up, Trump claiming there's a genocide of white people in South Africa. Played a batshit crazy video we're gonna watch. Nancy May showed naked photos of herself. It's gonna be a fun show. Kill Whitney? What did Whitney ever do to you? I like Whitney. I'm bummed now. Why would you want to kill Whitney? She already did. She died of a crack overdose. Judge rules the Department of Homeland Security violated a court order when it deported 8 migrants to South Sudan.
Also, the Department of Homeland Security says it has deported 8 migrants convicted of violent crimes in the United States, and they were placed on a deportation flight from Texas to war-torn South Sudan. But their final destination remains unknown. And during a hearing today, a federal judge in Boston demanded answers about
I hear the new final destination's pretty good.
Whether the migrants were deported without due process, but declined to order the plane be returned to the United States. So for more, I bring in ABC News' Christian Cordero. So look, Christian, what is Homeland Security saying about why they sent these migrants to South Sudan in the first place?
So officials, Kana, are saying that they sent these 8 migrants with violent criminal records, convictions to South Sudan because they couldn't be returned to their home countries. The administration claims their home countries would not accept them because of their violent records. Some of the countries that are mentioned here, are Vietnam, Burma, Mexico, Laos, Cuba, and South Sudan, which, as we mentioned, has been undergoing a brutal civil war. The administration classifies these individuals as uniquely barbaric monsters and cautioned people not to assume that South Sudan will be their final destination. In fact, a spokesperson for South Sudan's police today said the migrants will be deported to, quote unquote, the correct country after an investigation. We still are waiting on details on what exactly that may entail.
What in the fuck?
The other side is an apparent lack of due process, and then also what the judge in this case has classified as a violation of his court order.
And that's certainly been a criticism of many of these deportation flights. All right, Christian Cordero, thanks to you.
Really didn't go into a lot of detail there. Not the only time a judge is going to admonish the Trump administration on the show tonight. However, according to J.D. Vance, judges don't have oversight. J.D. Vance says the Chief Justice is wrong on judiciary's role in checking the executive branch. Vice President J.D. Vance characterized Chief Justice John Roberts' recent statement that the judiciary can check the excesses of the executive as a profoundly wrong sentiment. According to a New York Times interview published today, his comments add to the heaps of criticism the administration has levied against the judiciary as district court judges have issued injunctions and orders to halt some of the president's sweeping federal actions. Roberts, in a rare statement in March, rebuked GOP calls to impeach a federal judge who ordered deportation flights carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members to turn around. And earlier this month, he defended the court's independence before a New York audience, saying the job of the judiciary is to obviously decide cases, but in the course of that, to check the excesses of Congress or the executive. It's literally in the Constitution. I saw an interview with Chief Justice Roberts recently where he said the role of the court is to check the excesses of the executive, Vance said on the NYT's Interesting Times podcast. I thought that was a profoundly wrong sentiment. To Vance, checking the power of the executive is one half of Roberts' job. The other half of the job is to check the excesses of his own branch. You don't have a country where the American people keep on electing immigration enforcement and the courts tell the American people they're not allowed to have what they voted for. Vance said the courts were making an effort to quite literally overturn the will of the American people. However, he noted in most courts before offering his critique of Roberts' comments. Federal courts have blocked Trump's orders at a particularly high rate. And since the beginning of the Obama administration, Axios' Sam Baker reports there has been a rise in judges ordering nationwide injunctions. But blatantly defying orders, even if they go against what a president says his supporters voted for, would undermine the nation's system of checks and balances. Critics say that's already happening in some cases, like the case we just saw. Vance has previously advocated for the power of the executive branch if legal hurdles from the judiciary stand in the way of exercising presidential authority. In February, he wrote that judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. Axios says the bottom line is it is the role of the Supreme Court to interpret the law and, when necessary, declare it unconstitutional if it poses a violation. Judicial review established in the case of Marbury versus Madison in 1803 allows the court to determine legislative or executive action in violation of the Constitution. Vance told the Times Ross Douthat that the administration would keep working it through the immigration court process through the Supreme Court as much as possible. The High Court last week heard oral arguments on whether to let Trump proceed with a plan to redefine birthright citizenship, a case that could have implications for lower courts' abilities to freeze federal policy. That decision is expected by late June. As we're on the topic of the judiciary, Secretary of State Marco Rubio testified before the House Committee on Foreign Affairs today, got into a heated argument with Ted Lieu about following court precedent and rulings.
I recognize Representative Lieu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Rubio, thank you for being here today. As a member of the legislative branch, I don't have a special exemption to violate the law. You would agree with me, wouldn't you, that in America, no one is above the law?
Of course.
Okay. And in our system of government, it's Congress that makes the laws, the executive branch that executes the laws, and the judicial branch, when there's a dispute, that says what the law is. Is that right?
Within the context of separation of powers, yes.
Okay. And the reason
within all contexts,
so
I do
fundamental
believe,
to America is before we put the entire weight of the federal government and snatch someone off the street, we might want to ask, hey, do you have something to say about that? Might we have the wrong person? And in the case of Mr. Garcia, the Trump administration admitted in court that they mistakenly deported him to El Salvador. The Supreme Court, in a 9-0 decision, said the Trump administration has to facilitate getting him back. Do you believe the administration has to follow that Supreme Court order?
Well, I don't believe he was wrongfully deported. He's an Salvadorian citizen.
That's not my
illegally in the
question.
United
Do you believe the
States.
Trump administration has to follow the Supreme Court 9-0 unanimous decision?
Within the context of separation of powers. That
Okay.
No court can tell me how to conduct foreign policy. They can't tell me what I have to say to a president of another country, nor do I need to tell them what I told the president of another country, because I can't
I'm
conduct
just
foreign
asking you,
policy.
do you believe the Trump administration has to follow the unanimous Supreme Court
I believe we
decision?
are following it.
Okay, so my next
So what-
question is,
what steps are you
what
taking to
steps
bring him back?
Have you or the State Department taken to facilitate the return of Mr. Garcia, who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
The conduct of our foreign policy is an executive function, and how I conduct
I'm
it,
just
I don't need
asking
to share with you.
Well,
and
let me
I
ask you
don't
this:
need to share with the court.
Have you or the State Department taken any steps to facilitate?
We've taken
the
steps,
return?
but I'm not going to tell you what they are, and I don't have to because we conduct the foreign policy of the United
Oh, you're gonna have to tell a court, motherfucker.
States.
Lenny,
and I
welcome in.
conduct diplomacy with a
And
foreign
so-
leader if I come to committees and tell you what they said to me,
Right.
what I said to them,
you-
and more certainly a
No.
court can't
So
tell me to say
you
that
have
either.
taken steps to facilitate Mr. Garcia's return.
We've made those.
And-
We've made that assertion, and we've made those assertions in court, and
All right,
we've
thank
complied.
you. I appreciate that. I'd like to ask you now about Ukraine. On August 24th, 2022, you tweeted the following. In the past 6 months since Putin's criminal invasion of Ukraine, Ukrainians have shown incredible bravery and strength as they fight to defend their homeland. On Ukraine's Independence Day, the free world applauds their courage and celebrates Ukraine's sovereignty. And then also in 2022, you said the people of Ukraine are tough people who will never accept being ruled by Putin. I want to ask you, I assume you continue to believe what you said in 2022, right? That we should celebrate Ukraine's sovereignty and that the people of Ukraine will never accept being ruled by Putin, right?
Yeah, that's why we're trying to end the war.
All right. On April 30th, 2018, you tweeted, glad to see State Department confirm delivery of Javelin anti-tank missiles to Ukraine. The U.S. should continue empowering Ukraine and other allies to defend against the threat of Russia.
For the love of God, the courts need to start locking people up.
The U.S. should continue to support Ukraine against Russian aggression, right?
We've supported them more than anyone in the world.
All right. Unfortunately, it appears
Whoever the lawyer is for the State Department,
rogue and decided
or the
unilaterally
DHS
to
needs to
stop
be locked
support
up,
for
held in
Ukraine
contempt.
earlier this year. Various news organizations reported that Secretary Hegseth paused military support to Ukraine without President Trump's knowledge. I'm going to read you from one article dated May 6. Quote, Pete Hegseth canceled military aid
Wait, I didn't even know about this.
just a week into Trump's second term without the president even knowing, according to Reuters. The order initially sparked mass confusion within the administration as national security officials in the White House, the Pentagon, and the State Department couldn't figure out who ordered the halt in flights. This is yet another example of the chaos and lack of cohesion that Hegseth has brought to the Pentagon from day one. Did Secretary Hegseth tell you before he ordered the halt in flights to Ukraine of military weapons?
I can't comment on that because I don't remember that. I don't remember ever hearing that, to what you're claiming.
So your understanding is he never told you he was going to halt these flights?
I just know we're providing them assistance now, but the war ultimately has to end.
In 2016, you stated the following: from his repression of the Russian people and the assassination of his critics, to his dangerous invasion of Ukraine, the occupation of Crimea, to his threats against our NATO allies in Central Eastern Europe, to the war crimes committed by Russian forces.
The only thing I can say, DJ Dub, is Amy Comey Barrett has been a better judge than I ever
agree with your prior
expected.
statement, right, that Putin's Russia is a threat to global stability.
I would agree that in my role as Secretary
It seems
of State,
to be
my job is to bring Russia to the table to end a war, and that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to end a war.
growing an almost animosity towards the administration.
And trying to end the war, I simply note that Putin on Palm Sunday launched a barrage of missiles, killed a bunch of civilians. Right before his conversation with Trump recently, he launched a bunch of missiles, killed a bunch of civilians. So clearly, Putin is giving the middle finger to you and to the president. I urge you to defeat Putin on the battlefield. That's the only way to get him to the negotiating table. I yield back.
Chair now recognizes.
Apparently, Trump is backing away from Putin now. Says it's not our fight. Trump's new position on the war in Ukraine, not my problem. Not our people, not our soldiers. This is Fox News reporting just in the last few hours here. President Trump appeared to distance the U.S. from the conflict. We'll get to that. We'll get to that soon enough. Between Russia and Ukraine, just 2 days after speaking over the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump, who called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky Monday before speaking with Putin, and after with European leaders, told reporters on Wednesday that the conflict didn't involve the U.S., despite the fact that the U.S. has adopted the role of mediator between the two countries since Trump came into the White House in January. It's not our people, it's not our soldiers, it's Ukraine, it's Russia, Trump said in the Oval Office Wednesday while hosting South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. I fucked it up. I'm sorry, Ramaphosa. Senator Chris Van Holland, in that same hearing with Marco Rubio, that he regretted voting to confirm Rubio, which I think all the Democrats should regret to confirm any of Trump's nominees, including Cory Booker, who spoke for over 24 hours about the dangers of the Trump administration and then voted to confirm Jared Kushner's dad to an ambassadorship role. You piece of shit. Chris Van Hollen taking it to Marco Rubio.
And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's
about
just
your
a
record
flippant
and what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may. I didn't ask.
Senator,
question.
please let the Secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his
Your
response.
time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
Oh, Jesus. A U.S. citizen was held by Customs and Border Patrol recounts their ordeal for NBC News.
You've seen these videos circulating online. Take a look. They show video of Americans recounting their experience with Customs and Border Patrol. The people in the video walk through how and why they think they were stopped. The videos have gotten millions of views, and that's leaving many with questions about why the incidents are happening and what to do if it happens to them. NBC News correspondent Maya Eaglin joins us now with more. Maya, walk us through it.
Hey, Ellison, yeah, because of all these viral videos, there's been...
Okay, maybe we're not going to get a count. See, it says it. I was so scared. U.S. citizen accounts being held up by Customs and Border Patrol.
A lot of confusion online, and there are a few changes folks should know about when it comes
No, I've had this shirt for 20 years.
coming back into the U.S. Take a look.
I got to change as a United States citizen born and raised.
Millions of people have seen viral videos of American citizens sharing their experiences of being held up at Customs and Border Patrol re-entering the U.S. Some of them say they were asked to show their social media pages and even banking information.
I was so scared in those moments. I was like, why is this happening?
Sav says she was held for 2 hours of questioning by CPB as she was coming back from a trip to Spain. She says she was born in the U.S. and is a member of Global Entry.
When I opened my phone, that's when I had been asked to go through my socials. And then they wanted to see how much money I was making a day on TikTok.
It's Customs and Border Patrol can stop anybody.
Wow.
They have the right to search your luggage. They have the right to check your cell phones.
Brad Bernstein is a New York-based immigration lawyer and has been answering questions about similar incidents for folks online.
What rights do Americans not have when they're re-entering the U.S.?
The Supreme Court has ruled that the Constitution doesn't apply until you have entered the United States of America. You're not considered to have entered the United States under immigration law until you pass through Immigration and Customs. A U.S. citizen has to be allowed back into the United States. The government cannot take your U.S. passport away. They cannot take your citizenship away.
Sav says she believes she might have been flagged by the Department of Homeland Security in April because of her online activity.
I've been traveling out of the country and I've never had this problem. But the one thing that did change between February and now was that
Is we got fascists in fucking office.
February and now was that I created Trump for the Dumb, the clothing brand that I had.
The DHS posted on X that Sav's experience was not politically motivated and sent us a statement saying in part,
bullshit.
Lawful travelers have nothing to fear from these measures, which are designed to protect our nation's security. And allegations that political beliefs trigger inspections or removals are baseless and irresponsible. But it's not just regular travelers. Some high-profile names have also shared their experiences.
I was invited to the back room to be questioned on my opinions on a multitude of different things, from Donald Trump to Israel-Palestine.
Hassan Piker is one of the biggest left-leaning commentators online.
And they knew who he was.
Intentionally held up for several hours at Customs and Border Patrol in Chicago last week.
I don't know. The Department of Homeland Security denies that there was any sort of political targeting that took place here.
I don't believe it.
Given the line of questioning and how directional it was, it did not feel that way at all.
I don't think it's random at all. Nobody knows for a fact. Customs and Border Patrol is not going to say, this is why I flagged you.
The DHS told NBC News that according to their data, although overall searches have increased, advanced searches at immigration sites have gone down slightly.
But if you are the small percentage that it does happen, think about in advance what you want to do. Don't be logged into any cloud services. Another thing you can do is you can carry a burner phone. The more you say no, the more questions you're going to have, and the longer your stay at the airport's going to be.
Now, all of these rights depend on your citizenship status. If you're a visa holder or here on a green card, for example, you likely have even fewer protections. The best thing Brad, the lawyer, says to do is to stay calm and answer truthfully.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news.
Shut up, Lester.
On the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
I totally get that, DJ Dub. I understand, but I am going to raise a fuckus. If they are going to be fascists in my country, I am not going to stay silent about it. The United States sent 68 immigrants from Honduras and Colombia back to their countries on Monday on the first government-funded flight of what the Trump administration is calling voluntary deportations. In the northern Honduran city of San Pedro Sula, 38 Hondurans, including 19 children, disembarked from the chartered flight carrying $1,000 debit cards from the U.S. government and the offer to one day be allowed to apply for legal entry into the United States. U.S. President Donald Trump has promised to increase deportation substantially. Experts believe the self-deportation offer will only appeal to a small portion of migrants already considering return, but unlikely to spur high demand. The offer has been paired with highly publicized migrant detentions in the U.S. and flying a couple hundred Venezuelan migrants to a maximum security prison in El Salvador. Kevin Antonio Posadas from Tegucigalpa, I fucked that one up bad, had lived in Houston for 3 years, but had already been considering a return to Honduras when the Trump administration announced its offer. I wanted to see my family and my mom, said Posadas, who added that the process was easy. You just apply. Oh, that process is easy, but every other process in the United States right now, incredibly difficult. Try to go get your Social Security administrator to do something. You just apply through the CBP home app, and in 3 days, you've got it. The flight left Houston early Monday. Weird. It took me like 6 weeks to get my fucking tax return. It's good because you save the... It was supposed to be 3 weeks. It was double the amount of time. Granted, I waited until... I guess it wasn't 6 weeks. It was like 5 weeks. Because I waited until the last fucking minute. Like, I filed my taxes, and like it said like 11:49 p.m. on April 15th. Apparently, it's already in your account, DJ Dub. Posadas said he hadn't feared deportation and liked living in the U.S., but he had been thinking for some time about going home. He said eventually he would consider taking up the U.S. government's offer of allowing those who self-deport to apply to enter the United States legally. So what I'm going to assume is the kind of people that are going to self-deport are people who already have some means. He was thinking about going home anyway. Just got him an extra $1,000 to go with it. It is graduation time in the United States. Let me play you a heartwarming scene from a graduation. This was at Columbia University.
Good morning, class of 2025. I know that many of you feel some amount of frustration with me, and I know you feel it with the administration.
I would say a good majority of the people there at the graduation ceremony chanting Free Mahmoud. Of course, referring to Mahmoud Khalil, the grad student who has been detained by the Trump administration since what, February? And he didn't even participate in the pro-Palestinian protests. All he was the mediator between the two sides. Israel, meanwhile, saying they have probably killed the Hamas leader, Mohammed Sinwar. This is according to Benjamin Netanyahu, vowing that all of Gaza will be under Israeli control. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has probably killed Mohammed Sinwar, Hamas's elusive de facto leader in Gaza. We eliminated tens of thousands of terrorists, said Netanyahu at a press conference on Wednesday. We eliminated the leaders of the murderers Dif, Haniya, Yahwa Sinwar, and probably Mohammed Sinwar. Israel targeted Sinwar in a massive set of strikes in the European hospital in Khan Yunis last week. The attack killed 28 Palestinians and wounded more than 50 others. The Palestinian Ministry of Health said after the strike, if Sinwar's death is confirmed, it would be the latest in a string of assassinations that have dealt a serious blow to the group's top brass, but are yet to break its grip on power. Yeah, we also killed 132 children, bombed a hospital that is no longer in working order. Sinwar is the brother of former leader Yahya Sinwar, who was killed by the Israeli military in southern Gaza in October. That's the one that threw the pipe at the drone, right? In his first press conference in months, Netanyahu also vowed that Israel would not stop its newly launched military operation in Gaza. Forces are capturing more and more territory in Gaza. At the end of the operation, all areas of the Strip will be under Israeli security control. Netanyahu said that Israel could agree to a temporary ceasefire that includes the release of hostages, but an end to the war would only come with a list of conditions, including the demilitarization of Gaza, the overthrow of Hamas, and the implementation of the U.S. plan for voluntary immigration from the besieged enclave. Anyone who calls on us to stop the war before these goals are achieved is calling on us to leave Hamas in power. The only reason you're wanting to continue the war is so that you can stay in power, you corrupt piece of shit that is almost certainly going to go to prison. But hey, as long as we're talking about genocides, President Trump today had the president of South Africa in the Oval Office. This was their meeting with reporters.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, we have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is not...
When he says documentaries, apparently there's this online documentary that Elon Musk has shared out on his Twitter. He apparently showed it to Trump at some point in time after he won election.
Somebody here to turn that... I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights.
We're gonna play a YouTube video for him.
And it's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do, with or without you. People are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. Honorable members, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Honorable. Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing...
Man, I can show all kinds of Trump supporters that have said the exact same thing.
Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 pa.
They're saying pow, pow, pow. How American of them.
The mayor of DJ in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness.
Usually they're just playing like a Rumble video. It's not even a YouTube video. They're just doing calisthenics. I don't even know what's so wrong with this. But we were wanting to make America healthy again. I don't even know what this video is supposed to prove.
At least for now. I can't never see the future. Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter. They freak out. It sounds like a genocidal. I can't take it.
Well, they have a right to be angry if you know the fucking history. Their subjugation, the apartheid, the genocide against them. As Samson brought up in the chat, still an overwhelming amount of the land is owned by white people.
Who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
They can seek refugee in America.
This is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up.
These are not burial sites.
Pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross.
It is a cross.
There's approximately
each one of them is not a grave, though.
White farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it.
Have you not been to Auschwitz? Have you not seen the Nazi? You were at the World War II memorial, where you bashed our troops and praised Hitler. But you've never seen anything like this before.
No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. Okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa. That's where.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not black.
I
don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black.
Now No, the farmers aren't black. That's one of the reasons why the black people are pissed, Trump. Oh my God. It is weird that the president of South Africa didn't know what he was being shown, though, because it is called the Witcruis Monument. The Witcruis Monument. It is on private property, though. The Witcruis Monument, or the Postmorde Monument. It's a monument complex along the N1 route between Mokopane and Polokwane, South Africa, conspicuously located on the slope of Yesterberg on private property of the Harmisi family. Since June 16th of 2004, symbolic white painted metal crosses have been planted on the area of about 5 hectares for each killing during a South African farm attack. There are false claims attached to the symbolic signs, arguing that the attacks have targeted only white farmers. 925 of the approximately 3,000 white metal crosses on the slope are arranged in a striking central cross shape to emphasize the Christian nature of the monument. About 20 red crosses at the top of the monument represent local casualties. In 2020 and 2022, further monuments were placed at the foot of the cross fields. This started in 2004. Farmers erected white crosses along N1 to raise awareness of farm murders. Sanral and the road authorities, however, objected to this, so the crosses had to be moved further up the ridge. 300 members of the community met in June, and the first crosses were planted on the farm of the then owner, Mr. Stephen von der Walt, which sounds like a Dutch name. There were initially 1,200 identical crosses, each weighing 7 kilograms. In 2010, there was a surge in interest in the monument, upon which the local Vow Festival made arrangements with the new landowner regarding visits, restorations, additions, and a tribute day. So probably what you were seeing with the vehicles was one of these tribute days. The number of crosses grew to 2,506 by 2020. 2,575 in 2,575 in 2022. Just under 3,000 in 2023. One of them commemorates the well-known white supremacist and neo-Nazi Eugene Terreblanche, who was murdered on his Ventersdorp farm by 2 of his employees after an altercation over unpaid wages. So there you go. Trump lied again. But, maybe he would have been more receptive of the South African president if the South African president had had a plane to give him.
In some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and
take
then when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not black.
I
don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess, on a
not grave sites,
to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake, like NBC, which is fake news, totally one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me.
Apparently the reason is that it costs a fucking shit ton of money to operate and maintain. And the Qataris have been trying to get rid of it and pawn it off on people for years now. You dupe.
To the United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One, it's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
We know you would. You would take anything anybody gave you. Ironic with the awesome joke. Trump knows all about SA, just not South Africa. Knows about sexual assault.
We do have some breaking news into CNN. Despite bipartisan criticism, the Pentagon says it has accepted that Boeing 747 jet from Qatar and that President Trump will use it once it has been modified. Trump has been pitching this as a replacement to Air Force One. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is live from the Pentagon. Natasha, what are you hearing? And talk about some of the various concerns about the president taking this plane.
Yeah, Brianna, we're just getting this news in from the chief Pentagon spokesman, Sean Parnell, who's told CNN in a statement that, quote, the Secretary of Defense has accepted this Boeing 747 from Qatar in accordance with all federal rules and regulations. He said that the Department of Defense will work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered for an aircraft used to transport the President of the United States. Now, that really gets to the heart of the controversy over this, not only the possibility at this point that this is going to be gifted by Qatar to the Trump administration instead of purchased by the Trump administration, which raises all kinds of ethical questions, but also the fact that being given an aircraft by a foreign government for the President of the United States to use is very dicey, to say the least, and it's going to require extensive modifications to the aircraft before President Trump can even...
Not to mention the fact that, like, it's apparently $1 million just to take off in the thing. That it's an insane amount of money to operate it.
Safely use it. And to that end, the Air Force did tell us in a statement that they're preparing to award a contract to a contractor, to a defense contractor, to begin the modifications on this aircraft that will be necessary before President Trump can use it as a kind of temporary Air Force One. Now, we should note that this has, as you mentioned, been mired in controversy for weeks, ever since it emerged that the Trump administration was in these conversations with Qatar about accepting this luxury jet.
No. CNN doing a bad job of reporting here. The conversations, now we know that Trump actually wanted to buy it originally, and Qatar was just like, we'll give it to you, because they wanted to unload it so bad.
President Trump has really been frustrated by the pace of Boeing's construction of 2 jets that were going to be the new Air Force One to replace the very aging model that exists right now. And so the Trump administration began reaching out and exploring other options. One of those options was this jet that Qatar has been trying to sell. But again, there are still so many questions here. And in fact, a person familiar with the matter kind of poured cold water on the idea that this is going to happen.
See, seriously, like, why would Qatar want to sell it? Like, they've been trying to unload this thing. If it's such a great fucking plane, why wouldn't they keep it for themselves?
Immediately saying that, look, all of the talks about this transfer are still ongoing. There are a number of legal issues that still need to be worked out here, Brianna.
Yeah, and to get it in operational shape to be an Air Force One will take considerable time and expense. We'll see that. Natasha Bertrand from the Pentagon, thank you so much.
So, was it a gift or a request? There are new questions about that $400 million plane that
Oh, maybe they're going to go into it.
over to President Trump as a replacement for Air Force One. Here's what the president has said about how this offer came about.
If I wanted to, I could, hurt Boeing, and I don't want to hurt Boeing. But they are very late with the plane, and Qatar heard about it, and he's a great leader. And we were talking, and he said, if I can help you, let me do that. And they had a plane.
So Qatar heard about it. The president's narrative on how all of this happened is now in dispute because 4 sources familiar with the discussions tell CNN that it was actually Trump's team that first approached Qatar about acquiring a 747 that could be used as Air Force One. CNN Chief National Security Correspondent Alex Marquardt joins us now with the
Why would you go to Qatar and ask him, like, hey, you got a plane we can use?
details. What are these sources telling us?
So, as you heard there from Trump, in his telling, it's Qatar that came to him with this offer. What we've actually been told is Trump came into office in January, and not long after that, the Pentagon went to Boeing asking for an update on the new Air Force Ones that are expected in the near future. There are 2 of them. They were told that they wouldn't be delivered until 2027. You can hear there President Trump rather impatient. So what Boeing did was present the Pentagon with a list of planes that could work as a substitute, and that Qatari plane was on there. And so the Pentagon, with the White House's backing, went to Qatar and said, we're willing to consider buying this. And the Qataris said, well, we're willing to consider selling this to you. Simultaneously, Boris, Steve Witkoff, the president's Middle East envoy, he had also been asked to put together a possible list of planes. He's the Middle East envoy, so he helped facilitate these meetings. So this started as a conversation about some sort of transaction, a lease or a sale. But as you can tell...
Now remember, this is the administration hell-bent on cutting waste, fraud, and abuse.
It's evolved. We've heard President Trump talk about a gesture, a contribution. Once on Truth Social, he wrote that this would be a gift that was free of charge. Now, this may end up being a contribution for which the U.S. pays thing, but it's a lot more nuanced, and it really was, from what we're hearing, not Qatar that kicked this off, but the U.S. that reached out to them.
Theoretically, U.S. taxpayers would be paying something to retrofit this thing because there are security concerns. It would have to be taken apart and put back together. What would be the timeline for all of this?
Not just something, but quite a bit, and it could be several times the actual value of the plane. We've spoken to officials who have said that this could take as much as 2 years to overhaul this plane. They essentially have to strip it down to the bones to make sure.
So it's going to take them 2 years to strip it down to the bones and get it ready for Trump to fly in, which was when Boeing is supposed to deliver the new Air Force One. Jesus Christ.
Make sure that there are no listening devices or other security threats on there. Then they have to rebuild it. They have to put all the technical and security specs on there that would be required of a presidential plane. You'd have security, law enforcement, spy agencies involved in rebuilding this. So that could take up to 2 years. It could take many times the value of the plane. We believe the plane's worth around $200 million. It's been reported around 400. So it could take a long time, a lot of money, which may end up not being worth it. So this deal, we're told, still being hashed out. It would be the Qatari Ministry of Defense that would be giving or selling it to the U.S. Defense Department, but it's still very much not a done deal yet.
Great reporting, Alex Marquardt. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was originally written cuddling waste, fraud, and abuse. That makes far more sense. Oh, Jesus. A judge in New Jersey has reprimanded one Miss Elena Haba, dismisses charges against Newark, New Jersey Mayor Baraka, reprimands the prosecutors. Federal judge on Wednesday scolded federal prosecutors. Let me make this bigger here. Hold on. And announced he will dismiss trespassing charges against Newark Mayor Ross Baraka related to a standoff at a migrant detention center. Interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Elena Haba, announced earlier this week that she would drop charges against Baraka, but at the same time announced new charges against Representative LaMonica McIver stemming from the scuffle during Baraka's arrest. Federal Magistrate Judge Andre Espinoza reprimanded the federal prosecutors for more than 5 minutes, calling the retraction of the charges embarrassing. The hasty arrest of Newark Mayor Ras Baraka, followed swiftly by the dismissal of these trespassing charges a mere 13 days later, suggests a worrying misstep by your office, Espinosa said. An arrest, particularly of a public figure, is not a preliminary investigative tool. It is a severe action carrying significant reputational and personal consequences, and it should only be undertaken after a thorough, dispassionate evaluation of credible evidence. The judge directed his comments to Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen Deminovich. The judge said Deminovich had acted appropriately throughout the case, but as the representative of the United States Attorney's Office, he was responsible for hearing the message. Federal Magistrate Judge Andre Espinosa said he found out about the dismissal through reports in the media rather than from prosecutors themselves. The judge said that while there will be no trial, he believed Baraka deserved the chance to defend himself against the accusations. If this matter had proceeded to trial, we feel confident that Mayor Baraka would be vindicated, said Raul Agrawal, one of Baraka's attorneys. We have believed from the outset that these charges did not and would not survive scrutiny. Abba, of course, announcing the charges against Representative McIver. Representative McIver went on with CNN last night after the charges were announced.
A developing story. The Justice Department filed charges Monday against a Democratic member of Congress, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey. DOJ is accusing her now of assaulting and interfering with law enforcement during a confrontation with Homeland Security officers outside an ICE detention center in Newark earlier this month. You're seeing video that we've played before of the moments of the chaos that ensued. The situation first grabbed attention.
She's the one being assaulted.
Of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested on grounds of federal trespassing. That charge has since been dropped. The mayor was on CNN with Abby Phillip last night and spoke about all of this. Listen to this.
I didn't see any of the things that were stated. I didn't see any of those things happen. So I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated. And the videos are clear. Everybody can see those videos. They'll see the whole thing, and it'll be clear to me, and it'll be clear to her in court.
Speaking up in defense of the Congresswoman, joining me right now is the Congresswoman at the center of this, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. Thank you, Congresswoman, for being here. The charge is specifically for assaulting, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement. What is your reaction to this charge?
First of all, thank you so much, Kate, for having me.
Laughter should be your reaction
today. I think the charges are absurd. You know, it's ridiculous. I was there to do my job along with
close enough
colleagues. We have done this before. This is our obligation to do. It's in our job description to have oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was a very tense situation, but it could have been, easily not happen. They had every opportunity to not allow this to happen.
Sampson, you're thinking of Scott Jennings, and apparently he is considering a run for Mitch McConnell's seat in Kentucky.
It was very unnecessary, and it just, once again, we were there to do our jobs, and if I'm going to be charged with a crime for doing my job, it just speaks to where we're headed in this country and what we're dealing with as leaders and as Congress members here in this country.
Congresswoman, just specifically on the issue at hand, with now that you're facing this charge, what is the plan today? Are you turning yourself in, or showing up in court? What is your understanding of what happens now?
So we are still trying to get more information.
She actually just appeared in court a couple hours ago. I guess not a couple hours ago, 4 or 5 hours ago. It was this afternoon. So I will get you an update on that here in just a second.
on what the next steps are. My attorneys are in contact with the federal courts in New Jersey and Newark, New Jersey. So we're just waiting on direction. For now, it's business as usual. I'm going to do my job. This week, we all know that Republicans are trying to take away Medicaid and important funding to services that impact the over 800,000 people that I represent in New Jersey and across this nation. And so I'm going to do my job, Kate. That's why I was elected, why the people from New Jersey sent me here. So it's a full day of work for me here on the Capitol.
You know, we just
on Capitol Hill, excuse me.
No, of course, we were just covering it as President Trump is heading into a big.
So just the update, New Jersey federal judge on Wednesday released Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver on her own recognizance during the Congresswoman's first court appearance on assault charges. McIver appeared remotely from Washington as Congress is in session for the initial hearing, where she was officially notified of the 2 counts of assaulting, resisting, and impeding an officer from the May 9th skirmish. The prosecutor's complaint says McIver attempted to stop the arrest of Democratic Newark Mayor Ross Baraka. Well, now that those charges have been dropped, there's no reason for these charges now, is there? Magistrate Judge Stacey Adams presided over the roughly 15-minute hearing at which both McIver and her attorneys and federal prosecutors appeared through a video call. McIver denied the charges and said she was carrying out her duty as a member of Congress to oversee the federal facility. The only words she spoke during the proceedings were, "Yes, Your Honor," responding to the judge's questions, including if she had received the complaint against her. In a fundraising email sent after the hearing, McIver called the charges baseless. Each charge carries a maximum penalty of up to 8 years in prison. Interim U.S. Attorney Alina Habba had charged Baraka with trespassing after his arrest, but dismissed the allegation on Monday when she said in a social media post that she was instead charging the Congresswoman.
Meeting with Republicans on this exact issue. CNN has some reporting from sources that you and the Justice Department had attempted to negotiate a plea deal of some kind. Acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, though, said on Monday that you declined the department's attempts.
There is not a chance in hell that I would plea out to this charge. You're going to arrest me, a sitting member of Congress? We're going to go to court. I'm not even going to let you dismiss it. I'm going to have my day in court.
To, quote, come to a resolution. Can you speak to that? I mean, are you open to having a discussion with the Justice Department to resolve this outside of the courtroom at this point?
Well, the Justice Department and Alina Habba wanted me to admit to doing something that I did not do, and I was not going to do that. Once again, I came there to do my job and conduct an oversight visit, and they wanted me to say something differently, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to roll over and stop doing my job because they, don't want me to, or they want to neglect the fact that we needed to be in there to see what was going on in that detention center. And so, absolutely, no, I was not going to do that. And I think I'm open. I've always been open to having conversations. We have to have good government. We have to be able to conduct ourselves and be professionals, in this work. This is what the folks that I represent expect for me to do. And so definitely always open to conversations, but I'm not going to admit to something that I did not do. And no one's going to stop me for serving the people in New Jersey, because that's what they expect for me to do.
Congresswoman, earlier in the show, Republican Congressman Warren Davidson was on with my colleague John Berman, and John asked him about the charge that you're now facing. He said he wasn't entirely sure of everything involved in the case or the charge, but he did say this. I want to play this for you.
So anytime, one party goes after another, it's viewed as political. But I think the principle has to be that no one really is above the law. I hope they work it out. And, I hope we resolve things in a place that's rational. I mean, it seems crazy to me that you've got members of Congress and some of the public, but not much, certainly not in my district, defending MS-13 gang members. I mean, they're not here legally.
Oh, you piece of shit. Fuck you. No one is defending an MS-13 gang member. We're defending the Constitution from you fascist fucks trying to call people MS-13 and fucking deport them without due process. You gigantic piece of shit.
You need to leave.
You need to leave. Get the fuck out of this country if you don't like freedom.
There, but also having time and space to think about what happened on that day and reflect on it, would you have done anything differently?
No, I would not have. Once again, we showed up there to do a job, Kate. We were there for oversight.
You should have made a bigger
I've
ruckus.
done this before.
That's what I'm saying.
Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman and Congressman Rob Menendez was just at a facility just a couple of weeks ago, not too far from this location, where we had an oversight visit, and we were a little bit delayed, but not, confronted or was in the middle of a chaos to do so. I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, what Republicans are saying, about us, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight visit, which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour. We were all of this, we broke in, we assaulted people, all of these things that, HABA is saying and Republicans are saying, but they gave us a tour and allowed us to go in and tour the facility and speak to detainees. So, I would not have done anything different because, once again, the people that I represent expect for me to do my job, and that is exactly what I plan on doing, and that is what I was doing that day at Delaney Hall.
Congresswoman, you are now facing a federal charge, though. Are you afraid of
big whoop?
What's going to transpire now?
No.
I mean, it's super unfortunate, Kate, that we have come to this point, in America, that this is what we see happening to leaders who are trying to do their jobs. Rather, it's the mayor of the largest city, rather it's a judge. We've seen this administration come after and attack, leaders for doing their jobs. It's political intimidation, and I will not be intimidated. I expect to continue to do my job. Once again, very unfortunate situation. I did not think when I came to Congress in September that I would be, dealing with something like this, or dealing with being charged with anything. But once again, I am committed to doing my job for the people that I represent, and I stick to that because those are the people who sent me here in Congress in the first place. So looking forward to continuing to work and dealing with the things that you've been talking about all morning, cuts, to very important services, to Medicaid, to Social Security, in my district, that's going to hurt my district. And so super highly focused on that, and will continue to do so because that's what people expect for me to do. And I want to deliver for the people that I represent.
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, thank you for coming on. It was important to hear your first reaction to now this charge that came in just yesterday.
Hell yeah, Representative McIver had her court appearance a few hours ago, released on her own recognizance. Meanwhile, everyone's favorite representative, Nancy Mace, filed a resolution. Well, maybe she's just my favorite representative. Nancy Mace filed a resolution to expel Democratic New Jersey Representative LaMonica McIver, who earlier this week was served with federal charges for allegedly assaulting law enforcement officers this month while protesting at a federal immigrant detention center. On May 9th, McIver didn't just break the law, she attacked the very people who defend it, Mace said in a press release announcing the new House resolution. Attacking Homeland Security and ICE agents isn't just disgraceful, it's assault. If any other American did what she did, they'd be in handcuffs. McIver thinks being a member of Congress puts her above the law. It doesn't. She should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The Department of Justice announced the federal charges against McIver on Monday, accusing her of assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement. Nancy, Nancy, Nancy. We now go to the next update in the saga of Nancy trying to slander her ex in public using her platform as a congresswoman and the constitutional protections that it affords her. she has been hit with a defamation lawsuit by the men that she's accused of raping her. She is going to argue that she cannot be prosecuted because the Constitution says she can say whatever the fuck she wants on the floor of the House, which is insane. And in her latest move, showed what is apparently her own naked photos during a House hearing yesterday.
Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body. I didn't know that I had been filmed. I didn't give my consent. I didn't give my permission. And this particular video that Patrick Bryant recorded of me on his secret camera, he saved for over 3 years without my knowledge. Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body. I didn't know that I had been filmed.
Is she just walking by? It does look like Bigfoot. It was the latest in a series of explosive allegations Mace has publicly made against her ex. The silhouette image was one of several visuals the South Carolina Congresswoman used during a House Oversight Committee hearing on surveillance in private spaces. Mace drew attention ahead of the hearing when she posted on X, "I will show my naked body," on one of the videos predator and rapist Patrick Bryant took of me and many other women. She's accused him and 3 other men of filming women without their knowledge and keeping the videos and images for years. Her ex-fiancé and others have denied the accusations. Didn't know we were going to be participating in an episode of Ghost Hunters tonight. As she spoke, she referenced a black and white image blown up on a poster behind her. It showed a yellow circle around a blurred figure walking through the back of a scene taken from what appeared to be a kitchen looking into a living space. "I was filmed in secret. The camera sat silent, yet it screamed. My safety was negotiable and my dignity disposable."
Making an opening statement. And I am going to go a little longer than usual, so I apologize. Liberty begins with the right to close a door. A hidden camera kicks that door.
Oh, you're right. We're watching this. Nancy, like, I hate your guts. I think you're skeezy as fuck, but you can still be my GOP mommy.
Or off its hinges. The Constitution's Fourth Amendment enshrines a reasonable expectation of privacy. Yet today, that freedom is violated by secret cameras and hidden devices to record women and girls with impunity. Freedom is not a theory. It is the right to breathe.
The Constitution doesn't have anything to do with somebody recording you being naked in some dude's house, Nancy. When it says right to privacy, it's like the government can't come and get up in your business. God, you stupid cunt.
It is the right to dress.
You're a congresswoman.
To sleep without someone's camera filming your naked body. The founders wrote liberty in parchment, but hidden cameras erase it in pixels. I speak not just as a lawmaker, but as a survivor. Starting on November 5th, 2023.
And I feel bad mocking allegations of sexual assault and revenge porn. All of this shit is a huge problem. And I don't doubt those men did horrible things to violate you, Nancy. I don't doubt it. Because they're horrible pieces of shit. Because I'm sure they're Republican assholes just like you.
I discovered my former fiance, Patrick Bryant, had filmed women without their knowledge, without their permission, and without their consent. He filmed rape, too. He appeared to catalog his tapes and footage and images and photos in the way that he saved the files, and he stored these images, photos, and videos for years. This isn't just creepy, it's criminal, but only under weak state laws. In South Carolina, first-time voyeurs face a misdemeanor and a small $500 fine.
And by the way, if this is your first time hearing about all this, she supposedly had the evidence, but then it got erased somehow. Yeah, it's sketchy as fuck. I don't know that I believe Nancy. I believe that the men that she was associating with were skeezy. I believe she was probably skeezy too, and they were all participating in some underhanded shit, and now she's airing her personal grievances in Congress.
That's not justice. That is betrayal. Real men guard a woman's privacy, but predators harvest it. When predators install covert cameras or forge explicit images, they do not just invade a room. They invade a life. And that life deserves more than a misdemeanor.
Breach it, Carla.
Exhibit 1. Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body. I didn't know that I had been filmed. I didn't give my consent. I didn't give my permission.
So to be clear, she was doing something
Recorded of me on his secret camera. He saved for
of a sexual nature, but didn't know that she was being filmed.
I didn't pick this fight. I don't even want to be here today and discuss this. But because
I doubt that.
Roaming around South Carolina free, filming whatever genital parts he wants because no one has held him accountable. He's not in jail. He's not had to pay a fine, no restitution. He's able to rape other women, film them. And when I discovered this video, I discovered that he utilized up to 4 potential devices, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were more. I was filmed in secret. The camera sat silent, yet it screamed my safety was negotiable and my dignity disposable. All right, this is an image of
she got dentist,
the co-owner of that property, trying to lick his face. I think it says a lot about a man's character and what he was doing behind the scenes.
That he was goofing off with his friends?
Image I'm going to show, and I'm going to ask unanimous consent to enter it into the record, is the property where many women were filmed. This is the property where I found this hidden camera. Another device, at least one other device, was used here to film women without their knowledge, without their permission, without their consent. This was on the Isle of Palms in South Carolina. On this one particular camera that I was filmed on and other women were filmed on, I found that there were at least 10,633 videos just on this one recording device. I'm going to request unanimous consent to enter this into the...
To be fair, it's probably one of those, like cameras like that. They're like security cameras. They record in like 30-second bursts. So it's like 1,000 different 30-second clips.
Record.
Not that it matters.
He's given legal access to his device, by the way, on November 5th, 2023, which is where I started to find all these things. This is a screenshot that illustrates that in the hours and days after I was granted legal access to his phone, he used an app called Samsung Smart Switch Mobile to transfer files, videos, photos, images off of his device and onto another device.
She's talking about her ex. She was engaged to this dude. I can show you videos of her, and that's victim blaming for me to be like, oh, they were incredibly happy in these videos, and she looks sinister with this fucking piece of shit. But the reason she is doing this is because she has immunity from defamation claims. She can get up and say all of these things as a congresswoman, and the Constitution actually protects her. She can't be sued for what she says. It's disgusting. So she can make claims against him and not have to face any kind of legal repercussions. Now, they have filed a defamation suit against her, but that is her claim. She's airing her dirty laundry in congressional hearings because she has protection from being sued. It really is just beyond the pale.
On the same day that I was given legal access to his phone, I found a second mobile device. It was the Tiramisu operating system. I have a screenshot of that. I forgot to print it off today. But I saw a second device hit our Wi-Fi. And then I see that there are files being transferred. Turns out, we believe there were terabytes and terabytes of videos and photos and images transferred off of this device and onto another. He would, weeks later, get a second mobile phone as well.
Karma is a bitch, my lord.
Patrick Bryant seemed to have certain fetishes of the women he cataloged. In the evidence I uncovered, there were some commonalities. So he like categorized it. He'd even have like a headshot of a woman. He'd have a headshot of a woman. I'll show you an example. He would have a headshot of a woman, and then next to her headshot, like just from like her Facebook or Instagram or something, this is a woman in a glitzy dress. He'd have a picture of a woman, and they would have all these files saved next to the headshot, almost as if he didn't want to forget who that genital part belonged to. And so on this one particular camera that I was filmed on, I'm going to show you a series of photos of other women. I have blocked out the women's bodies to not identify them. This particular woman was changing. Her arms were spread out, but you could see her upper torso and the bottom of her torso from the front as she was changing on this, quote, camera. He saved that one for years.
Quote, camera.
This next image is similar to the one of me behind me. This is another woman I was unable to identify, and we're keeping her covered up, but she was fully nude in front of this camera. He saved this.
This is the kitchen area. Why are there women nude in his kitchen area? Like, it's not like he had a camera in like a bathroom and filming them. Women are just changing and fully nude in his kitchen.
This video of this woman naked walking around for years. One of the things that he would do in front of this hidden camera, this is him in the center of the shot. He would place women. One of the common things I saw in these videos, many videos, is he would put women in the middle of this area where this hidden camera was, and they would perform, there would be sexual acts that would be performed. These women did not.
It's always that strange angle where all you see is balls and asshole. I just made Byronic laugh. I know that for sure.
No, they were being filmed. I have spoken to at least 2 potential victims. One was definitely a victim because I saw the tapes. But I've spoken to at least 2 potential victims that saw this camera, and they asked him if they were being filmed, and Patrick Bryant said no. And so he would place women in the center field of the camera, and sexual acts would be performed. He would also place women on a certain piece of furniture. Let me get one of the one before that. One before that I already showed.
And can we talk about how it's a shitty camera?
I'll just show mine. On this couch.
This is like 15 megapixels in black and white.
He would place them facing out so they'd be toward the center of the camera, and that you would be able to see their bodies as they were engaged in sexual activity. And he would save these videos for years. He had a fetish with photographing women who were naked at the end of his bed. I covered up the woman from the top. You can see her legs spread here as she's walking out after activity in his bedroom. She has no idea that she's being filmed. This one was with his, I believe, his cell phone. And so he had a fetish with buttocks and of women, particularly at the end of his bed. I saw
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
A woman at the end of his bed who didn't know they were being filmed or photographed.
I like big buttocks, and I cannot lie.
Here's another example where another woman, her shoulders here, I identified this victim. I was able to identify several victims. I don't know if she's been informed by law enforcement that she was also filmed and photographed naked. I don't know if she consented or not, but there were photo after photo of women naked at the end of his bed.
Butt oxen.
He had a habit of filming female employees or photographing them, and also the wife and or wives of male employees. This particular victim, it looks like she might be on a zip line. I also identified her. He had several images of her taken on an Olympus digital camera, and these are what I would describe as upskirt shots, and her genital area is exposed underneath. I was able to identify this victim based on a public post she had on Instagram, and so I've covered up what she's even wearing in this one. He kept these upskirt photos of this victim for almost 10 years, and he had several upskirt photos from this family vacation at Callaway Gardens almost a decade ago, June of 2015.
Family vacate, like he was photographing his sister?
Here's another one when she's completely spread eagle. And he took again, this isn't just another example from the same woman on the same trip, that he took of her vaginal area, her genital area, as she's on some sort of, I don't know, looks like maybe a zip line or something, I'm not sure. And he kept this image for almost a decade. I was given permission to show this photo today from this victim. This is one of the rape victims that I discussed in my February 10th floor speech.
Oh, I remember, Nancy.
As you can tell, she's on the couch and she's unconscious, passed out, blacked out. I think she was roofied. We don't know. We never will know. But as you can see, she's on the couch, dead. I would find multiple photos of this rape victim on the couch of a man named Eric Bowman who resides on Sullivan's Island, South Carolina. Her rape was...
Your tax dollars at work, indeed.
It was planned. It was filmed. And the tape of her being assaulted by the business partner of Patrick Bryant, John Osborne, this rape tape was saved for years. By the time I'd found the rape tape, it had been saved for over 5 years. This is sick. This is perverted. This is criminal. And these men walk free today in South Carolina. I can't unsee the sexual assault and the rape of this young woman in the tape that I accidentally uncovered.
But for some reason, there's no charges filed.
Should be behind bars.
But you didn't file charges. You ran to Congress. That's what's sketch about this, Nancy. You didn't file charges. You didn't turn over the evidence that you supposedly have to law enforcement. The FBI, particularly, you're a congresswoman and you were a victim in this, so the FBI could absolutely be brought in. That's what makes me question your motives. Because you're not following the proper protocols, the proper procedure for handling something like this. No, you're being petty and you're taken to the floor of Congress to try to shield yourself from legal liability is what it seems to me. And I hate this for a number of reasons. I don't want to make light of sexual assault because I know how prevalent it is. I've had so many women who've confided into me that basically every woman that I have ever had any kind of intimate relationship with has confided in me that she has been assaulted at some point in time in her life. It's disgusting, and we do have problems with creeps videotaping people and not getting consent. But Nancy is trying to wrap herself in a sense of self-righteousness that she's some kind of crusader for women and sexual assault victims, when really she's just airing out a petty grievance, it seems. Not to say that she wasn't assaulted, because GOP men, there are creeps on the Democratic side, I assure you. But for some reason, it seems overwhelming. GOP men are fucking creeps. And the idea that you had a fiance that was a creep, totally believable. I believe you, Nancy. but just something about this smells. She could still be my GOP mommy, though. Michael, that's exactly why she's making it in Congress and not in a court of law. 100%. She gets to control the narrative. It's disgusting what she's doing. Absolutely disgusting. Did you know that Elon Musk is no longer a part of Trump's inner circle? He was there today with the South African president, but apparently has no power whatsoever anymore. Suffered a humiliating West Wing tongue lashing. Further details have emerged about the shouting match between Scott Bessent and Elon Musk at the White House, showing just how fed up the Treasury Secretary was with the tech mogul. A profile from The Atlantic detailing the rapid rise and fall of Musk's influence in President Donald Trump's world opens with a dramatic quote that Bessent is alleged to have yelled at Musk during a heated exchange last month over who should lead the Internal Revenue Service. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, Bessent reportedly shouted at Musk. In retaliation, Musk squared up to Bessent and accused him of running 2 failed hedge funds. I can't hear you, Musk said. Say it louder. The fiery confrontation, believed to have taken place within earshot of Trump, was first reported by Axios in April. One unnamed witness who saw the near physical altercation described it as 2 middle-aged men thinking it was WWE in the hall of the West Wing. The dispute reportedly stemmed from Bessent being furious that Musk had gone behind his back to push for Gary Shapley to be named the acting commissioner of the IRS. Bessent wanted Deputy Treasury Secretary Michael Falkender for the job, who eventually replaced Shapley after just 3 days. The Atlantic framed the incident as another example of Musk burning bridges inside the Trump administration while essentially heading up the Department of Government Efficiency. For months, Musk's leadership on the federal cost-cutting mandate made him arguably the most influential person in Trump's orbit. So much so that people began asking if the billionaire, who regularly appeared at cabinet meetings and press events alongside Trump, was actually the real president. But following a string of setbacks, including Musk's heavily endorsed candidate getting trounced in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court election, and polling suggesting he's increasingly unpopular, it appears Musk is retreating from his government role. He's also far behind on his original goal to slash $2 trillion from federal spending. According to his own department's website, that figure stands at around $170 billion. But I doubt that. Speaking of polling showing that he is unfavorable with most people, let's go to that dude on CNN that's always entertaining, talking about polling.
That he will be spending a lot less of his fortune on politics moving forward. This came out yesterday in a new interview. So why is Musk making this shift now? You'll remember Musk spent more than $290 million to help get President Trump and other Republicans elected. Tesla, though, has struggled this year, really ever since Musk took a leading role in the Trump White House and began to lead his Doge efforts. And now Musk says he's going to spend more time, at least the next few years, still stay on as CEO of Tesla. Something that Harry Enton decided he wanted to look at. What is behind this shift from Elon Musk? What is behind it?
Yeah.
How unpopular is he?
How unpopular is he? How low can you go? Oh my, okay.
Pretty fucking low.
Elon Musk's net favorability rating. Look at this shift. Back in 2017, before he really started this politics thing, he was at plus 24 points. Look at where he is now. Whoa, he fell through the floor. minus 19 points. Among Democrats, the fall was even more dramatic. We're talking about going from plus 35 points on net favorability rating. That is quite a popular guy among Democrats. To get this, now down to minus 91 points. You can't really go lower than that. I guess you could go down to minus 100 points, but he became political kryptonite. He was greatly disliked by the American public and greatly, greatly, greatly disliked by Democrats. And obviously we saw that in Wisconsin when, of course, he spent all that money and then the liberal won that Supreme Court race.
Yes. How has that plummet of popularity impacted the brand?
Yeah, exactly right. So this is Elon Musk individually. How about Tesla? Okay, let's take a look. The net favorability rating. Look, General Motors, compare General Motors and Tesla. General Motors, quite well liked by the American people, plus 23 points on net favorability.
Why?
But look at Tesla, minus 20 points. So this idea that Tesla could somehow separate itself out from Elon Musk, the American people saw it the exact same way. And of course, Tesla is a business. They're in the business of selling cars. Awfully difficult to sell cars when you have a minus 20-point net favorability rating.
Well, also awfully difficult to sell cars when your cars keep blowing up and every car you've ever made has faced a recall.
Driven by Elon Musk's net favorability rating right around the same mark. And it's not a big surprise that Tesla sales had fallen in the past, at least in the first quarter, compared to where they were a year ago. It turns out that Elon Musk's political kryptonite was also becoming kryptonite for selling cars.
So, well, and one person maybe that matters to Elon Musk, maybe, well, other than his investors, would be Donald Trump. How is Trump's?
I hope I still get my wish of living to see Elon Musk dead fucking broke. I was certain it was going to happen a couple of years ago, and then some shit happened. I thought after he bought Twitter, it was all going to go downhill, but then, he got Trump elected, and I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong. But it could still happen. He is that fucking dumb.
View of him shifted?
Yeah, so, we're talking about Tesla here, but of course he's leaving the political game. Okay, Trump loved talking about Elon Musk at the beginning of his administration. Trump posts about Musk on Truth Social. Look at this. From January 20th to April 4th, he posted about 40 times. Look, from April 5th onward, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Donald Trump knows brands very well. He knows political brands, and he knows Elon Musk's political brands time had run out, and therefore Elon Musk taking a step back from politics.
It also might be a favor to Elon Musk.
Yeah,
I like this guy better than Kornacki.
While I'm trying to save my company.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thanks.
So we're gonna go to Harry Enton over Steve Kornacki from now on. The Axios, no, it was Atlantic. The Atlantic story mentioned it was like WWE in the West Wing. Funny they should mention WWE. The former CEO of WWE, who is now the Secretary of Education, testified today in front of Congress, the House Appropriations Committee. She was asked about Elon Musk and his cuts.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. No, I think it's my question time, if I can. They'll start the clock. I just don't want to lose my clock. And if we could do short-term answers rather than long-term ones, too, that'd be helpful, just because I got a lot I'd like to talk about. Let's talk about waste, fraud, and abuse a little more, about Doge. So you fired 1,300 people. Another 600 people took Elon Musk's deferred resignation offer. Did you fire the people, or did Doge fire the people? I'm not.
Can we talk about how fucking old ass Steny Hoyer over here looks? God damn it. Retire.
Completely clear on that.
Most of that restructuring happened under the acting.
Short-term, did you fire or did Doge fire?
Well, I'm going to tell you who I fired.
I know, but that's why I'm trying to get short-term questions. It's one or the other, right?
You're using our time.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to. We're gonna sidestep this for a second. We're gonna come back to you. Fucking look at goddamn Steny Hoyer, his old ass over there. Jesus fucking Christ. Here is Onion article from today. Cobweb covered skeleton gripping Senate desk, expected to seek 15th term. One of the reasons why I'm so indignant about it right now is because Virginia Representative Jerry Connolly dies at 75. This is the third House Democratic death since March. Remember this guy? The guy that beat Andrea Ocasio-Cortez to be the ranking Democrat on the Oversight Committee. Remember when this was just like 2 months ago. He just beat AOC like 2 months ago to be the ranking member because Nancy Pelosi endorsed him. He's dead. He died today. Virginia Representative Jerry Connolly died at the age of 75 weeks after announcing that his esophageal cancer had returned despite grueling treatments since his diagnosis in 2024. It is with immense sadness that we share that our devoted, loving father, husband, brother, friend, and public servant, Congressman Gerald E. Connolly, passed away peacefully at his... I am sorry. He did not serve the public by staying in that seat long past his fucking expiration date. Family noted that Connolly lived his life to give back to others and make our community better. Fuck you. Calling the politician a fierce defender of democracy. The Connolly family added his legacy now colors our region. Connolly is the third Democratic congressman to die since March. The last 8 Congress people to die in office were all Democrats. Connolly is the third Democratic congressman to die since March, only a few months into the new congressional term. Texas Representative Sylvester Turner, who had previously disclosed a bone cancer diagnosis, died shortly after attending President Trump's address to Congress in March. Arizona Representative Raul Grijalva died several days later due to complications from cancer treatments. When the 119th Congress began in January, Republicans narrowly controlled the chamber in a 219 to 215 split. As of Connolly's death on May 21st, Republicans controlled the chamber by a wider 220 to 212 margin. The geriocracy, these old-ass motherfuckers staying too long, are costing us control. Fuck. Connolly announced in April that he would not be seeking another term in Congress. My God, you made it like 3 months into this term. At the same time, he shared his plans to step down from his leadership position as the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, a role he'd held since January after beating out New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in an internal vote. So sorry I got sidetracked from Linda McMahon's stupid ass over here. Skipped ahead a little bit. I was gonna do Connolly at the end, but seeing Hoyer, another geriatric old fuck that has no business. He is second in command in the House. He is the Democratic whip. Actually, I might be wrong in that. He was the Democratic whip when Jeffries came in. He may have stepped down. Hold on. Yeah, he did step down from his leadership position. Okay, so fuck. He stepped down when Nancy Pelosi stepped down, which both of them should have left Congress. Chucky Boy Schumer should have left the Senate when they lost the Senate in, 2014? Chucky Boy shoe. That should be a thing. We need to adopt that like other fucking parties do. They leave when they fucking lose. Leadership leaves. The Republicans do that shit. But somehow the Democrats don't. It's disgusting. Anyway, Linda McMahon talking about Elon Musk's influence at the Department of Education.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. No, I think it's my question time, if I can. They'll start the clock. I just don't want to lose my clock. And if we could do short-term answers rather than long-term ones, too, that'd be helpful, just because I got a lot I'd like to talk about. Let's talk about waste, fraud, and abuse a little more, about Doge. So you fired 1,300 people. Another 600 people took Elon Musk's deferred resignation offer. Did you fire the people, or did Doge fire the people? I'm not completely clear on that.
Most of that restructuring happened under the acting.
Short term, did you fire or did Doge fire?
Well, I'm going to tell you who I fired.
I know, that's why I'm trying to get short term questions.
The
It's
short
one or
term
the other, right?
Well, you're using our time.
Yeah.
So we most of that was done before I came on board. However, the
Doge.
decisions in the department I run the department. Doge does not run the
Okay,
department.
so you didn't answer the question. Did you fire them or did Doge? It's real simple.
A good majority of that happened before I came on board.
Okay, and by a good majority, 2/3, 3/4?
Well, yes, I'd say.
Okay, fair. Okay. And how many times did you meet with Elon Musk
I've
about
met
firing?
with Mr. Musk probably 3 to 4 times now.
Okay.
Not including when I was on the transition committee and had several opportunities to speak with him.
Sure. And then if I understand it right, on your Department of Education employee roster, you have right now at least is about 16 Doge employees. Is that correct right now, working with you?
I can get back to you to the exact number. I don't think it's that high. But we
Okay.
do have, they are employees. Those that we have are employees of the federal
And when
government.
you did their background checks to see how they're qualified about education, how many had undergraduate degrees and how many had graduate degrees in
I
education?
can get back to you on that.
Okay, so you don't know offhand?
No.
Did you ask that question?
No.
No, okay. Did you ask if any of them were teachers previously?
I did not interview those people that are part of
Okay.
the Doge group.
And did you ask if any of them worked in schools? Did you know if they
Actually,
were
I had a
asked?
conversation with one of them yesterday who did have a background in education, technology education, and had worked across several different aspects and was really schooling me a little bit on some of the AI things that we could bring in.
So one of them had a good background. Good. Any of them work in universities that you know of prior?
I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. So part of my concern is, I know yesterday there was this big splash. Elon Musk is stepping back. We call that horse hockey where I come from, right? We know it's not real. He's in the back closet.
Horse shit.
On his, front and center, but he's still in the room, and he's still making a lot of these decisions. And that's the real problem that I have is, you've got a bunch of folks that he brought in that you've admitted you didn't hire, you don't know their backgrounds if they have anything in education, yet they're helping you fire half of your employees right now. And I'm really concerned about that. Do you know if any of them have requested or gained access to any sensitive data held by the department, including student loan borrower data?
Well, as
Yes. Yeah.
now, they have been vetted through the same process than any other government employee would, and so what access would be granted to other government employees
Okay.
they have.
That's fine. And then, do you know the number of people that you've had to reinstate of those fired?
It's about 74.
About 74. So how did that happen? Because, I've been an employer for 37 years. The dumbest thing I could possibly do is fire someone just to rehire them, right?
Yes.
You've given them no job security.
You did it 34 times.
Stupid, right? Not saying that because you didn't do it. Clearly, it sounds like this is from Elon Musk. But how did that happen, that people got fired and no one thought of you might need them in your department?
Some of that did happen when I returned.
Okay.
Now, I was in the private sector. I have done restructuring in firms, and it's painful to do that.
Yeah. But
And
fire
you-
people
wait,
to
no,
rehire them?
well, here's the thing.
Like, usually that's not a strategy.
When you are restructuring in a company, you hope that you're just cutting fat.
I mean, to be fair, the WWE fires people and rehires them all the time. Happens constantly.
Sometimes you cut a little in the muscle, and you realize it as you're continuing with your programs, and you can bring people back to do that.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
you
what
can
we
plan
did.
ahead and not fire people to rehire them, right? That would be another strategy that I think is more often used. Would you agree?
Well, I'm saying that I have been on both sides of that.
Like Bruce Pritchard been fired from WWE.
Okay.
5 times now.
We have a different perspective on that, but maybe the world of all-star wrestling is different than my world of business to business.
All-Star Wrestling. Oh my God.
Okay.
He's never watched WWE
I have a
before.
different perspective on that, but maybe the world of all-star wrestling is different than my world of business to business. You talked about, I agree with you about
Gotta laugh at it, Linda.
enriching private contractors at public expense. Does Elon Musk have any contracts with the Department of Education?
First of all, I just
It's a simple question,
well,
please.
Not
This
that I
is
know
my
of.
time. I have 38 seconds, please,
Well,
Madam
I don't
Secretary.
know if he does or not.
You don't know if Elon Musk has any contracts in your department, and you've met with him multiple times?
Elon Musk doesn't have contracts in my department.
So,
You sure?
Department of Education, there are no contracts with any Elon Musk company. That's what I'm asking.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. You want to check a blue card real quick, or are you pretty sure of that?
I said not to my knowledge.
Okay.
If I find out differently, I'll be happy to get back to you.
All right. And just in the last few seconds I have, just real quick.
She keeps wanting to circle back.
Private schools getting public dollars. Just so you know, something like 3/4 of the students that wind up going into those schools already attend those schools, and they're getting tax money. So if we get rid of the Department of Education, should we put the private voucher program under Ways and Means because it's really more of a tax benefit than an education benefit?
Well, I'm happy to get back to you on that as to how we restructure the Department of Education going forward and how those programs are handled.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
You're welcome.
There is apparently some concern that Elon Musk is accessing the borrower information for student loans for some sort of business reason. I don't know how that information could be profitable, but a federal judge has actually issued, this is back in February, issued a restraining order from stopping him from accessing that information. I don't see anything about contracts. That's what I was trying to find, if Elon did have any contracts, a Starlink or some shit like that with the DOE. This is Democratic Representative Watson Coleman from New Jersey going at it with Linda McMahon.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to my colleague who just asked those questions about important programs to get students ready for college. Good morning, and
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that I just need yes or no. Do you believe that there is illegal discrimination against people who are black, brown, and other types of discrimination in jobs and education in this country? Yes or no?
I think it still exists.
Fucking yeah.
And can you tell me why the Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Education is being decimated?
Well, it isn't being decimated. That's
What is
for
it
sure.
being?
We have reduced the size of it. However,
Do you
we
think
are
that this-
taking on a backlog of cases that were left over from the Biden administration. and
Then
we're
why
working
would
through those.
you reduce the resources if you've got a backlog in addition to having confronted those cases that are going to come before you now?
Because we're working more efficiently in the department.
Okay, thank you. I've got real serious questions regarding your commitment to civil rights, to our students, to our teachers, to our faculty, and places of that nature. Do you believe that migrant students should have access to public education resources?
Well, migrant students do have access.
Do
at
you
this
believe
point.
that they should continue?
In some instances, yes.
Okay. Do you believe that the position of this administration to reduce the resources and the support to migrant students, at the same time they've encouraged and perhaps facilitated the coming to this country of white South Afrikaners?
I'm not sure.
Is an issue of favoritism and prioritization of white over color?
Well, if I am going to have to take a couple of minutes to answer this,
Well,
because
answer
this administration, President Trump has made it very clear that he will not tolerate discrimination, whether it's anti-Semitism, whether it's race-related, at all on any of our
Doubt.
I'm asking
any
you,
in our
I'm
schools.
asking you
Well,
about
I'm going to
your
answer this
opinion
question if I
because I'm
may.
going to tell you, I know what the president's position is. He's made it quite clear. I'm asking you, as the Secretary of Education, how you perceive this? Yes or no? If this is not an illustration of replacement and favoritism, say no. If it is, say yes.
I am the Secretary of Education who has been approved to run this agency by Congress, and I was appointed by the president.
It still amazes me.
Pleasure under his mandate. So therefore, the direction of his administration is what I will follow.
Do you recognize the fact that one of the important reasons that the federal government got into public education was to establish that there would be standards so that children would be treated equally in pursuing education, that states had been found to discriminate against?
Yeah, DJ Dub. Pretty good summation.
In many of the states, and that
she's a conduit of her God King Trump.
Responsibility and authority back to the states would just enhance those disparities, again, considering the environment in which this president continues to foster about who's important and who's not. Yes or no?
Congresswoman, there are laws on the books in Title VI that totally...
Laws don't mean anything to this administration. I'm asking you...
No!
Do you realize that to send authority back to the states, to eliminate your oversight, to eliminate your accountability, to eliminate your determination as to resources going to schools that are teaching, public schools that are teaching underserved communities, this will result in the very reason that we had to get the involvement of the federal government in this issue. And that's a yes or a no. Either you believe
it isn't a yes or no, but I will not respond to any question based on the theory that this administration doesn't care anything about the law and operates outside it. So that is a mischaracterization, and I won't respond.
I reclaim my time.
It's not a mischaracterization.
Because you can say anything you want, your rhetoric means nothing to me. What means something to me is the actions of this administration, from the President of the United States conducting himself in a corrupt manner to his family, enriching him and himself corruptly, to determine that this administration can tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's lawful, what's not, that it can arrest judges, it can arrest lawyers, it can use its power.
Congresswomen.
People. And I'm telling you, the Department of Education is one of the most important departments in this country. And you should feel shameful to be engaged with an administration that doesn't give a damn.
Ms. Litlow.
That old lady was right. That was Democratic Representative Watson Coleman. Bonnie Watson Coleman from New Jersey. She's a representative from New Jersey. Apparently not the only tense hearing today. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin was in front of the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works.
Thanks very much. Administrator Zeldin, on April 23rd, Daniel Coogan, for the EPA, filed a sworn statement in court that said, and I quote here, EPA leadership conducted an individualized grant-by-grant review to determine which grants should continue. He made that statement under oath, and on the following page of his declaration, he said that there were approximately 377 grantees that had received cancellation notices and another 404 grantees who would receive notices within the next 2 weeks, for a total, by my math, of 781 total grantees. Do you dispute his testimony that there were 781 individual grants at issue?
The exact number I don't have offhand, but
But you don't
sounds like
dispute
could be
it.
a
So let's
fraud.
say that it's
And as far as the
781 or
individual
thereabouts.
reviews, I did those myself.
His testimony under oath was that that took place. Then, and I'd ask unanimous consent that that declaration of Daniel Coogan be made an exhibit. Then, on May 6th, Travis Voiles of EPA made the following statement, also under oath, also in a court filing. He said, on February 25th, 2025, I conducted an individualized review of EPA grant programs. That day,
I'm sad he left me.
decided that certain grant programs should be terminated.
I miss you, Socks.
So there are three things about that Voiles statement that are noteworthy. First, the date. He said that he did this all on February 25th, which is interesting because if he put in a 10-hour day, that's 600 minutes of time for 781 grant applications, which means he would have had to conclude his review of each of them in 45 seconds without even a bathroom break.
Damn.
The second thing about the statement is that he said, I conducted, not you conducted, Administrator Zeldin, not leadership conducted. He said he conducted, and he said that under oath.
Is it treat time? They deserve treats. You want to give them treats? Let's do it. I'm going to turn on the light in here so you guys can see me give them treats. I mean, I got treats when Nancy Mace showed her nude pictures in front of Congress. So it's only fair that the kiddies get treats. They're so sweet about it, too. Maynard with his little face like, oh, you're going to give me treats? Love those kitties. Socks hasn't felt well. Socks, he has this thing where, like, he'll eat too much and then throw up, and he's getting old. So, like, yesterday he threw up, and it took a toll on him. And, like, he didn't feel good all day. So, like, I'd gotten him treats from the store. And I'm like, well, buddy, just as soon as you're up and moving around like you normally are, I'll give you treats. And it took him until the evening before, like, he was back kind of frisky the way he normally is. He went nuts for some treats, though. So, yeah, I'm happy to give him treats because I hadn't had treats in, like, a week. I just got him some new treats. Do I have a hit left in this one? I've got like maybe 2 bowls left. Curzer's going to take me tomorrow. I gotta go help her lift a table, and she's gonna take me to the weed store. I was gonna walk today, but she's like, well, if you can wait till tomorrow, I'll take you. And I was like, I probably shouldn't wait because I'm gonna run out, but I'd rather not walk. It's really, Socks is about 15 or 16. So I know that, you know, I've had about 10 years with him, and I know I've probably got less than that with him to go. And it's really making me sad knowing that he's in his backside. He's like, what, that's like 70 something in cat years or some shit. So it really hurts. But all my kitties are getting up there. Like Smokey's like 12 now. Maynard's like 8 or 9. Like, how time flies. Time flies. How does that happen? And see, like, Socks is in pretty good health to be 15 or 16. Samson, here's the thing, is like I've got Outdoor Baby, and Curiouser was like, is she being fed? Because like I've met her owner now, so she's not a stray cat. And I'm like, but every time she comes over here, she acts like she's starving. But she's also not even a year old, so a cat acting like they're starving is not, you know, fucking year old. They just fucking hoover up food. It is a growing kitty. So I don't, because like if she's not being fed, I'd take her in. Speaking of the cat distribution system, you guys should ask Media Winch about the cat distribution system. Media Winch is ecstatic because Curiouser's best friend is a vet tech. She had a Maine Coon that she needed to rehome. And if you guys weren't aware, Media Winch lost a Maine Coon a year or two ago. And so she's got another one. He's kind of lonely. He needs a friend. And this Maine Coon's name is Lucifer. So literally perfect for Media Winch. And he's apparently the sweetest boy. I have all kinds of pictures of him. Let me see if I can get you a picture of him here real fast. I see Facebook does this thing to me. I don't know if I can get the pictures off of Facebook. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Allow me to show you handsome boy Lucifer. He is not with Media Winch yet, but will be with Media Winch within the next couple of weeks. And he's apparently so sweet. He's just a handsome boy, and that he's chill as fuck, very loving. Look at that coat. Look how pretty. Oh my God. That is a butt-shaved cat indeed. I know. And dude, like, who fucking surrenders a cat like this? I don't know the circumstances. I don't know how it happened. He apparently had to be rehomed and got took to a home and then didn't get along with the other cats. So he had to be returned. Oh, he's huge. Oh, he's a Maine Coon. Maine Coons are fucking big ass cats. But he's adorable. He kind of looks like Ron Perlman. This cat looks like Ron Perlman. Probably something like that, Comradsky. Also, welcome in. Handsome kitty. Handsome kitty. So this is Media Winch's new baby. But she doesn't have him just yet. So I probably shouldn't be showing pictures. She used to pop in here and be like, I don't have him yet. Because he has to take a flight from one coast to the other coast. I don't know if they've scheduled the flight yet. They told me it was either going to be the 6th or the 20th. So Media Winch, new baby, she'll have him within like a month. And this is like her second time, because like the first time was the Curiouser is flying with her best friend with the kitty on the plane across country. So yeah, if you have somebody that's dedicated to rehome a cat, they absolutely will fly a kitty to you. You guys want to know what happened to one of our favorite people? We don't hear from him very much anymore.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Rudy is apparently volunteering as tribute, not to make a fool of himself, to prosecute Biden after his cancer diagnosis. Let's hear from Rudy with Steve Bannon.
About Joe Biden and the cancer cover-up, the Praetorian Guard cover-up. What's your recommendation?
What is this idea of a cover-up? What are these people talking about? Just because they didn't come out and say the motherfucker had cancer doesn't mean that they covered anything up. Right-wingers just make shit up. Also, we are definitely on Biden dies of ball cancer watch.
Biden dies of ball cancer watch.
Hi, Socks. You want to get back on camera? You come over here and say hi to everybody? Tell them how much you loved your treats? Oh, he ran from me. I'm sorry. He went back in the window. It is prostate. It is prostate, Textilian. Other people were calling it butt cancer. I'm like, no, it's ball cancer. Curiouser was like, you just split the difference.
Talk to me about Joe Biden and the cancer cover-up, the Praetorian Guard cover-up. What's your recommendation? I think we need a formal investigation, not a House. We don't need Comer doing it and then fail 2 years later and write some book that nobody reads. We need a grand jury. We need prosecutors. We need a special counsel.
For what?
Rudy Giuliani.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's a very broad one. It's really has to do with the people who cover this up. Possibly it doesn't meet the legal definition of treason, but it is treason. If you want to,
what?
The president of the United States is non-compos menace. We're double-crossing our country if we let him stay there. I mean, I don't understand why Barr is not under investigation. I don't understand why the former head of the FBI. I don't understand why Comey's not in jail.
I don't understand why you're not in jail, you piece of shit.
Picked up the phone and called you and said, hey, come over to the Oval. I got to talk to you. And said, I need a special counsel that knows, that can start with a running start and knows all the details.
Been disbarred.
Would you take that job today?
Sure. I have my hand up already. I've taken the oath for Ronald Reagan.
Okay, what would you do?
I'll do it
walk
for
me
him.
through. Okay, what would you do? Tell me, what would you do?
I'd have to start several investigations and then see if they can be merged into one. First of all, I do the one.
He'd go into court and embarrass himself and fart in front of a judge. We already know. We saw it in 2020.
Outlined in this book. I mean, I already have it outlined.
Wow.
And that is the RICO case against the crime family.
Come on, man.
There'd be four specific predicate acts of bribery. They would involve Russia. They would involve Ukraine. They would involve China, probably about 8 separate ones, bribes from China.
So you would okay, so hang on.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time I was arguing with this motherfucker about, like, he told me that Joe Biden had accepted $3 million from this company in China, and I looked it up. It was like, no, it's through the shell company somehow. They're saying Joe Biden accepted 3 million, blah, blah, 10%. 10% to the big guy thing, 10% of 3 million from some company in China. I looked it up. That company gave Trump 10 million. So this person was all upset about supposedly Joe Biden getting 10% of $3 million from this Chinese company. I looked it up. I show him this fact. And I'm like, Trump got 10 million from this company you're accusing Joe Biden of taking money from. And he said, well, it's different. Trump has a business. And I went, my God.
So you're telling me you take over special counsel, you would impanel a grand jury right away, or would you designate the FBI to give you some investigative apparatus? I want you to walk me through your critical path, because
Cash
we're
and I
going to
would have
promote
to have
Rudy
a very long
Giuliani. Are you the best guy?
He's on a first name basis with Mr. Patel.
I'm the best guy to do it in terms of knowledge and experience, and having never lost a case as a prosecutor, including some of the most difficult cases of the 20th century. Am I the best? And the press will go nuts. But if whoever takes this job, at least I'm already, they've gone nuts on me already. And I've already proven,
they've gone nuts on me already.
For everything they say about me, I can prove I told the truth.
I'm not worried about the media. I'm not worried about the media. They're defeated anyway. What about, can you work 8?
He can prove he told the truth, even though he had to pay out everything he owned in a defamation case.
18-hour days. To do this, the head guy here has got to be 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. You agree?
I'm going to be doing that until we have my funeral, Steve.
What about the cancer? What about the cancer cover-up? Where does that come in?
We can certainly hope that's
I had prostate cancer 25 years ago. I've been cured of it for 25 years. My father died of prostate cancer, a horrible death, because he got it late, because they didn't have a test then. There's no way in the world you develop that cancer in 2 days. How about more like 20 years?
But the point I'm making, as ill as he is, do you call him in and depose him for 4 days in a row, nonstop?
Unless his lawyer stops me and we have to litigate it. I had a great one once with Joe Bonanno for 4 days and got him held in contempt.
Joe Banana.
Did Joe Banana, was Joe Banana on the Gleason 9 for cancer? That's what I'm saying. I know you've done this before.
But he had avoided jail
You broke Milken, you broke the mafia. I got that part. But I'm saying today, with a guy that's 80-some years old and has, Gleason 9 or whatever is advanced prostate cancer.
Come on,
does Rudy bring him in?
A 9 on the Gleason scale, you dipshits.
Does Rudy bring him in and you grill him for 4 days? Because Her played patty cake with him.
Her played patty cake.
Case that he's not capable.
Oh my God. I told you guys about the outbreak of tornadoes all across the country. I was affected by it yesterday. We had some severe weather move into the region. St. Louis officials have been put on leave because the tornado sirens didn't go off.
To Missouri, where the head of the City Emergency Management Agency for St. Louis has been placed on leave. And this comes after tornado sirens failed to sound before an EF3 tornado hit parts of the area Friday. 5 people were killed in this storm. City officials say there was a breakdown in communication that led to the sirens not sounding. So let's get to our breaking news correspondent Chanel Call in the CBS newsroom in New York with more on the reason the mayor gave for this breakdown in communication.
Yeah, Jules, we're talking about such a huge disaster here. Local officials today calling this a once-in-a-generation tornado. You mentioned 5.
I am tired of once-in-a-generation tornado. This has now happened twice in the last week. This was Friday night. We had this happen again last night. Tell me more about these once-in-a-generation tornadoes.
People died when the storm moved through on Friday. And one of the big questions now people there are asking is why warning sirens did not sound before that EF3 tornado hit St. Louis on Friday. In response to that failure, the mayor, Kara Spencer, who, by the way, has only been in office for 1 month, just announced last night, Jules, that she is now putting the head of the city's emergency management agency, or CEMA, Sarah Russell, on leave. Here's how the mayor explained exactly what went wrong.
Friday afternoon, SEMA staff were at a workshop at 1520 Marketplace. They were not in SEMA headquarters.
My apologies. I thought I had my microphone turned off. Just coughing right into the microphone, clearing my throat. Sorry.
Despite where the actual button is located, despite the weather issues that we knew were coming. This meant that our SEMA staff could not activate the button. When the when the warning was issued by the National Weather Service, the fire department was contacted by SEMA. At that point, there was a breakdown in communication. The directive to activate the sirens was not clear. This cannot happen when a tornado is ripping through our community. Our safety depends on clear and direct communication.
And Jules, just for some perspective here, there are about 60 outdoor sirens that are stationed around St. Louis, and they're meant to be activated once the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning, just as it did on Friday. There are two places where this can happen, where they can be activated. One is the SEMA office, where those officials reportedly were not in place. They were at a workshop. The second place is the fire department. As you heard, their crews were not inside the SEMA office when they would have needed to activate the alarm on Friday. And then today, the mayor said that the siren button at the fire department was actually not working as it should have. So really a few big systemic issues that led to this failure.
Oh boy. So where does the investigation go from here?
Right. So Russell will now be placed on paid administrative leave pending a full.
Oh God, they gave Major Garrett a new show. You guys might not be able to see it. It's Takeout with Major Garrett. 5 p.m. weekdays. I said we were going to bully Major Garrett into retiring next. And now he starts a show on my fucking birthday. This means war. I'm coming for you, Major Garrett.
Based on paid administrative leave pending a full external investigation into exactly how and when SEMA responded on Friday, particularly why that outdoor warning siren system had failed at such a critical moment. Officials also, Jules, said today that they tested and they can now confirm that the button at the SEMA office was in fact functioning. The mayor also issuing an executive order essentially stationing fire department personnel there 24/7 to activate the sirens if needed in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Chanel Call. Chanel, thank you.
Komaradsky with the Biden stuff. I have a clip of him saying he had cancer in 2022. A lot of people brushed it off as a gaffe, but he probably knew back then. The people looking at that clip in new light now. Because, like, he was fucking old and senile. He said stupid shit all the time. So people just blew it. I mean, he had been saying fucking crazy shit since he was, like, fucking in his 30s, back when he first came on the scene. God's going to put a cancer in the butthole. That's why people care. People care a lot about cancer in the butthole. Gonna make me play it again. Gonna have to cue this up so I just have it, because butthole cancer. Seems to be awful common occurrence here on this show. For some fucking reason. Why? Why does butthole cancer keep coming up?
God's going to put a cancer in the butthole. God's going to put a cancer in the butthole of every sodomite. Every sodomite's butthole will get.
Yes, do get a colonoscopy.
it'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the.
You're over 40. Get your colonoscopy done.
Down. He's got a.
You also need to get your prostate exam.
He's got a flame coming out of his butthole. God's going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I kind of had to poop now.
Your butthole will be flaming, and you will not be able to sit down until you have a flame coming.
Now that he mentions it.
And there'll be people walking around all over America with flames coming out of their butthole. And everyone who takes it up the rear, everyone who has a penis injected in his butthole, when that penis comes out, the flame will start burning, because ain't nobody gonna stick no penis in that flame. That flame will be an eternal flame coming out of the butthole.
Is this burning?
The butthole flame coming out of your butt. That man pulls that penis out of you, a flame is gonna come out, and nobody will ever stick a penis in your butthole again, because it will be on fire. You ain't seen nothing till you see the flame coming out of T.D. Jake's butt. Lightning bug got a flame coming out of his butt, and all flames shooting out of their behinds. You're going to see the power of God. Flame of fire is going to come out their butthole.
I just thought about the different ways I could edit that up and make it funny. Like, millions of Americans with flames at their butthole, and then like, dong, the Taco Bell fucking lip moss. Yeah, he seems nice. That dude has totally done meth and got butt fucked. He's a bottom. I'm not even playing. That's totally Carla, I'm right, aren't I? That dude is totally taking it up the ass. Why'd I ask Carla? Why'd I put you on the spot for that? Why do I have a cat just staring at me right there? Look at those weird eyes. He's just sitting in the middle of the floor. What, buddy? I could have asked Byronic. That's true. All right, hold on. We've enough fun and games here. Let's get to the serious shit. Body cam video has been released. I believe this happened in Tyler, Texas. Police say a woman tried to grab a cop's gun. Let's see if that's what the video shows.
7 Trent Bennett spoke not only with the man who shot this video behind us here, but Trent, you also have new body cam video from police, and we're learning more about exactly what happened.
Yeah, we're getting all that information in our newsroom now, Blake. And this video behind me, you might have seen it. It's been viewed and shared on social media more than 200,000 times. Tonight, I spoke to the man who was filming this scene in front of his mother's home on North Winton Avenue in Tyler, and we're getting brand new video of the responding officer's body camera showing just part of that arrest happening.
Get up off me! Get up off me! Sit up, got in cuffs. Let go of my gun!
Tyler police say what you're watching are the moments when 2 officers were in the middle of arresting 32-year-old Breonna Irwin Sunday afternoon for a reported theft at this Dollar General off Gentry Parkway. In this body camera video, the police department says Irwin...
How the fuck you get reported for theft at a DG? Have you ever been in a DG? They got 1 employee. Who knows where they are in the store? I stole from a DG one day just because I stood there for 10 minutes wanting to fucking pay, and nobody ever came, so I'm just like, fuck it. Walk the fuck out. How in the world do you get charged with theft from a The cops did this. The cops made this shit up.
2-year-old Breonna Irwin Sunday afternoon for a reported theft at this Dollar General off Gentry Parkway. In this body camera video, the police department says Irwin is seen resisting, and police say their video shows Irwin in this struggle manages to grab one of the officer's guns and gets her finger on the trigger through the holster.
No, she doesn't.
A gunshot is heard and seen going off.
Get off of me! I'm ready to record this guy, police!
In another video seen hundreds of thousands of times on social media, Erwin is heard shouting in the streets, "Record this, I'm pregnant." The person behind this video, AJ Sanders.
I was actually coming outside to get my mom's Mother's Day gifts out of the car, and I heard some commotion going on up the street.
Sanders says he pulled out his phone and started recording. In Sanders' video, you also hear the officer shouting, "Don't touch my gun," and hear the firearm discharged. You also see the officer throwing a punch toward Erwin's face. Sanders says the blow to the face, he thinks, was too much.
What was the need for the excessive force? Because they...
Oh, I think he set his own gun off.
Once the firearm was discharged, they had already had her on the ground, and she seemed to be complying.
In a statement from Tyler Police, the department says Erwin claimed to be pregnant as officers were in the process of arresting her, and that she grabbed the officer's gun. To prevent further escalations in the use of deadly force, the officer quickly utilized a close-hand strike. Erwin tonight is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, as well as assaulting an officer, possession of a controlled substance, and resisting arrest. She remains in the Smith County Jail. The department says it remains committed to transparency and
I don't believe it.
Provide updates to this ongoing investigation.
Now, this arrest affidavit also indicates while being booked into jail, Erwin said she did not intend to fire the officer's gun when she grabbed it. And this afternoon, I spoke with the local NAACP president, Lisa Williams. They started their own investigation after seeing this video that went viral.
She admitted to grabbing the gun?
Nurse, and she says she visited Erwin in jail. Erwin was given a pregnancy test, and Williams says, according to both medical staff and Erwin herself, the test came back negative and that she's not pregnant. Tonight at 10, we'll hear from her and go further into detail on this active investigation. Reporting in the studio, Trent Bennett, KLTV 7 News.
All right.
Yeah, I want to follow up on this. I have a feeling I'm going to be playing her interview for you guys. Do we have that? Actually happened a few days ago, so do we have that interview? She could have miscarried. That's possible. I'm not seeing the interview with her. I'll see if I can find that later. We'll follow up with that. Apparently she admitted to to trying to grab the gun, or at least maybe grabbing, and she didn't mean to hit the trigger or something. But I wouldn't doubt that a cop fucking set it off themselves, because cops lie. Cops lie all the time. Like this cop in Orange County.
A former Westminster police officer has been charged with pretending to be disabled while dancing and drinking at a music festival, skiing, even running a 5K. Orange County reporter David Gonzalez live in Westminster on the felony charges she's now facing for the alleged workers' comp fraud. David?
Michelle, we reached out to the Westminster Police Department, but they had no comment. The Orange County District Attorney's Office calls her actions shameful, and they say the real victims are the taxpayers.
Pulled a Ray.
Engage in that kind of behavior is absolutely disgusting.
Former Westminster police officer Nicole Brown faces serious prison time for allegedly stealing hundreds of thousands in fraudulent workers' compensation payments after telling her department she was unable to work due to an injury she suffered while on duty in March 2022.
She suffered a small abrasion to her head. She went to the emergency room that day. The doctor cleared her without any restrictions on duty. She took a couple days off after that and then told her department.
Holiday's been shouting everybody out, Cicero. Welcome in, my friend.
Who put her on temporary disability.
The Orange County District Attorney's Office claims Brown collected
He's being communist tonight.
Tax-free, including all medical bills.
She was engaged in an incredibly active lifestyle where she was running, skiing, going to Disneyland, doing all these things that she said she could not do while she was working as a police officer.
The DA's office launched an investigation after Brown was caught dancing and drinking at Stagecoach Country Music Festival.
People who knew that she was on full disability witnessed her behaving in a way that was not consistent with what she was telling her department.
Brown's stepfather, Peter Gregory Schumann, a licensed attorney practicing workers' compensation defense for insurance carriers, is charged with helping a stepdaughter orchestrate the fraud.
Representing her at some of the meetings with the department and her case manager, where he was describing what she was prohibited from doing.
Brown is now charged with 15 felonies, including making a fraudulent statement to obtain compensation and making fraudulent insurance benefit claims. Her stepfather is also charged with conspiring and soliciting someone in an unlawful act. And if convicted, Schumann faces 8 years behind bars. If found guilty, she faces up to 22 years in prison. Reporting live in Westminster, David Gonzalez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Her father-in-law helped her too. These damn cops. I don't think God likes these cops. All this bullshit the cops putting us through. This is what God thinks about that shit.
It sounds as frightening as it looks. Caught on camera, police cruiser struck by lightning. Video posted by Newcastle, Oklahoma Police Department shows the strike as severe storms move through the area. Thankfully, no one was inside that vehicle. Newcastle officials say this is...
I didn't think that could happen. I always was told that the tires and the grounding would stop that from happening.
It sounds as frightening as it looks. Caught on camera, police cruiser struck by lightning. Video posted by Newcastle, Oklahoma Police Department shows the strike as severe storms move through the area. Thankfully, no one was inside that vehicle. Newcastle officials say this is a reminder, stay sheltered, and when the weather gets really bad, and be aware of what is happening. Get this, the odds of being struck by lightning in one lifetime, 1 in 15,000, at least here in the U.S.
So if you were in the vehicle and it got struck, you should be okay. I have known like a couple of different people that have been struck by lightning multiple times. It's rare, but, you know. It is day 6 of the search for inmates that escaped from a New Orleans jail. 5 still on the loose. 5 have been caught.
Louisiana News at 5 begins with breaking news.
WWL Louisiana just obtained this new surveillance video from the Orleans Parish DA's office showing some of the escaped inmates from the Orleans Justice Center walking in the CBD. Take a look at your screen there. It shows the inmates walking in an alley near Barone Street just after 2 a.m. This is on Friday. That's about an hour after the jailbreak happened. Now that is just the latest in a day full of new information on that jailbreak. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. We have multiple new developments on the investigation.
They've also charged people
5
for helping them.
escapees remain on the run tonight. And we're now finding out that 2 people have been arrested for helping some of them after that jailbreak. And we're diving into the history of one of those many escapees who reportedly has experience breaking out of jail.
And the Orleans Parish DA and Louisiana Attorney General toured the Orleans Justice Center as they tried to identify what led to this escape. But first, we go live to our Whitney Miller, who is live near the location. This is where one of the inmates, Corey Boyd, Whitney, was captured last night.
Yeah, she has details on the 2 alleged accomplices who police say helped him. Whitney, what'd you find out?
Yeah, Corey Boyd was taken into custody here near this corner of Iberville and Treme. He is now the 5th person recaptured in this ongoing manhunt. But tonight, the focus, as you both mentioned, is on 2 people accused of helping him and others stay hidden. 32-year-old Courtney Harris of New Orleans and 38-year-old Corvante Baptiste of Slidell are now behind bars themselves. State police say both played key roles in helping the escapees after they broke out of the Orleans Justice Center on Friday. Now, investigators say Harris was in contact with at least one inmate who's still on the run, and she allegedly drove 2 escapees to several spots around New Orleans. Baptiste is accused of helping Corey Boyd directly, communicating with him on social media and even delivering him food while he hid out inside of this neighborhood. Now, both Harris and Baptiste are charged with being accessories after the fact. That's a felony under Louisiana law, and if convicted, they can face up to 5 years in prison each. And tonight, law enforcement is again warning the public that helping a fugitive is a serious crime, and they will hold anyone who is doing that accountable. I will tell you both that here in this neighborhood,
I find that hard to believe, or otherwise we would hold the entire GOP accountable now, wouldn't we?
but I have seen police doing some patrols, if that sheds any light on just how serious this manhunt is. For now, in New Orleans, Whitney Miller, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, Whitney, thanks so much. And law enforcement is playing a possibly dangerous game of cat and mouse with a man all too familiar with breaking the rules.
Antoine Massey, he's one of the 5 inmates still on the run after escaping the Orleans Parish Justice Center. And as Eleanor Tabone explains, this is not the first time he's escaped.
Eleanor Tabone.
Last Friday, just after lunch, 6 inmates escaped from the city's juvenile jail called the Youth Study Center.
Before the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center became what it is today, it was the Youth Study Center. In 2007, Antoine Massey escaped from here. According to our partners at NOLA.com, police found Antoine Massey on the Interstate 10 service road in eastern New Orleans.
Where'd they get this Aussie from?
Massey was being held on armed robbery and aggravated assault charges.
The bottom line is that every child that's detained in that facility poses a great and grave risk to public safety, and that's the reason they're detained there.
NOLA.com reported at the time the juveniles took advantage of a broken lock to get into a room that contained metal shackles, then used the heavy objects to break a window and escape. Fast forward to 2019. He escaped from Morehouse Detention Center, just outside of Monroe. He was caught the same day, but in Texas.
I believe that Antoine Massey probably wasn't handled properly.
Then in 2023, Massey did it again.
In November of 2023, Antoine Massey...
This is his 4th escape!
...into our ankle monitor program, and he was placed on ankle monitor, and 2 very short hours later, he cut his ankle monitor off.
Matt Dennis with Assured Supervision Accountability Program, or ASAP, an electronic monitoring company, says Massey was a red flag from the start.
The truth is, Antoine Massey didn't just escape my ankle monitor. We received him after escaping an ankle monitor. We were warned.
He says Massey's history of escapes should have been a warning that he must be taken seriously.
If you're going to run a brick and mortar jail with 4 walls, I'm not sure that the first floor is where you should keep very dangerous people or people that know how to escape. I don't think that you should keep them on a tier or in a pod where there's no live deputies walking around.
According to documents WWL Louisiana got this week, investigators say 33-year-old Sterling Williams, a jail maintenance worker, is facing charges after he confessed to helping the 10 inmates escape. The documents say he acted under orders from escaped inmate Antoine Massey, who allegedly threatened to shank him if he refused.
Antoine Massey doesn't belong on an ankle monitor. Antoine Massey doesn't belong on the first floor of an unsupervised pod.
Eleanor Tabone, WWL Louisiana.
And we reached out to several agencies to determine where Massey was placed on an ankle monitor before the 2023 incident, and we're still waiting to hear back. In the meantime, state and local leaders are looking for answers inside the walls of the Orleans Justice Center.
Amelia Strahan was there as the DA and the Attorney General toured the facility today. So, Amelia, were they looking for anything specific? Do we get any new information from them?
So Katie and Charisse, District Attorney Jason Williams says that getting your eyes on a crime scene is the first step towards serving justice. And that's exactly what this was today. So as they walked through the halls here at Orleans Justice Center, they were looking for anything, any evidence that might lead them to how this happened and who is to blame for it. Security failures leading to a historic jailbreak in Orleans Parish are slowly unfolding.
I saw the locks issues, I saw the hinges issue, I saw what they were talking about with the sliding doors. There's still probably 160 of them, of doors that in some form need to be fixed.
For the first time since the breakout, city and state officials laid eyes on the crime scene.
I wanted to see exactly where they were able to scale the wall, what door they went out of, how it was secured. I wanted to see the back portion of that toilet area.
To preserve the investigation, District Attorney Jason Williams wouldn't speak to the vulnerabilities inside the walls of the jail. And how exactly 10 prisoners managed to escape Orleans Parish Justice Center is still unclear. But outdated security systems, broken cameras, and vendor confusion.
And incompetent cops.
Failures the sheriff's
Vendor confusion. Vendor confusion. So this might not be a private facility, but it has multiple contractors operating in it, doesn't it?
City Council meeting.
That assessment outlines that the current system in place, it will fail within the next 2 years.
For that footage that we've all now seen, where you have the 10 inmates running outside the facility, is there a door sensor there?
No, that is not an exit door. But there are some vulnerabilities of the facility that weren't there initially.
But Attorney General Liz Murrill says the failures stretch far beyond broken security systems and believes the length of inmates' stay in what should be a short-term facility is part of the problem.
We aren't going to get long-term structural change in the system at this facility unless we can manage the amount of time that people are having to spend here, and that means their cases have to be moved.
And Williams says one thing is clear. Responsibility lies with more than just one person.
Who all was involved in this jailbreak? Who assisted, who knew, and when?
And Williams says it will take time to find answers to those questions. Reporting live from Orleans Justice Center, Amelia Strahan, WWL, Louisiana.
Amelia, thank you so much. The beginning of a very long investigation. Take another look at these escaped.
That poor woman probably set up her own shot as a reporter. There wasn't a videographer there to tell her, don't shoot up your nose. Put the tripod up as high as it will go and shoot down. It is not appealing to look up your nose, ma'am. Your teeth look really big because they're the closest thing to the camera. Sorry. That's another one of those things like with news stations now. Like, she probably doesn't have a photog. She's probably just out of fucking college. They don't know what they're doing because you fucking run off all the good production people. Last time I worked for a TV station, I started at $10 an hour. I did it for the insurance. But when it came up, I decided I was going to leave, or they could, convince me to stay by giving me a raise. I asked for $13.50. This was in 2017. $13.50 was the living wage in Alabama. That's what I asked for. And they said, we have never given anybody a $3.50 an hour raise. And I'm like, I'm just asking for the living wage in Alabama. That's all. I don't think that's too much. I have 10 years experience, or 15 years experience at the time, and 2 degrees. I just want to be able to live. But that's why they run off all the good production people from TV stations. Content warning on this one. We're going to Randall's Island, New York. A woman was attacked, apparently left to die.
Story on Randall's Island. A woman remains in critical condition after getting attacked and beaten unconscious.
And tonight, we're hearing from the victim's family who is demanding justice. Fox 5's Arthur Chen live on Randall's Island with the very latest tonight. Arthur.
Steve, Natasha, this is such a tranquil part of the city. It's hard to imagine this terrible attack taking place, targeting this hardworking mother where she was left alongside the road here essentially to die. She'd been stripped of her jacket and she was bleeding profusely from her head. Well, her family members have now identified the victim.
Oh, God.
Her name is Diana Agudelo. She is a 44-year-old mother who works at the Museum of the City of New York, where she is a janitor. They tell us she is a single mother who works to support her 2 children, both of whom are in college right now. And in order to save money, she bikes to get back and forth. Now, on Friday night, after she finished her shift, she biked onto Randall's Island here on her way.
She seems so sweet just because, like, all of her fucking clothes have cartoon characters on them. She just seems so, like, sweet and innocent.
Her name is Diana Agudelo. She is a 44-year-old mother who works at the Museum of the City of New York, where she is a janitor. They tell us she is a single mother who works to support her 2 children, both
seriously
in college right now. And in order to save money, she bikes to get back and forth. Now, on Friday night, after she finished her shift, she biked onto Randall's Island here on her way home to Queens. But her family says this is where she was jumped and robbed for her bike. The NYPD says she was brutally beaten, hit around the head and face. Then she laid here until her body was discovered this next morning at around 5 a.m. So she was laying out here for 6 hours. Now, Diana has been in a coma since. She has not woken and is in critical condition, as you said, at Elmhurst Hospital, where we just spoke with her heartbroken daughter.
She had a black eye. Her whole body was bruised up. Even when I saw her, I couldn't recognize her. I was thinking in my head, I was like, that's not my mom. It's like you couldn't even see her face. Her eye was so black and so pitch, you couldn't see it. And when the doctors would open it to do examinations, it was just so bloodshot red. Her ears were full of blood. Her hands were filled with blood. There was even like some dirt under her nails. It was so graphic to see, so graphic. I remember when I saw her, the first thing I did was fall to the floor because I couldn't believe that was my mom.
Now we want you to take a look at a
I'm so sorry, kiddo.
His family says their mother was robbed for her bicycle. It is an e-bike that they recently purchased for her to make her commutes easier.
Oh my God.
Anyone who sees this bike to alert the family or to alert police, either somebody who didn't have a bike before who suddenly has one that looks like this, or somebody who might be trying to sell something like this online. The bike may be key here because looking through this area, we do not see surveillance videos, although there are only a couple of ways on and off Randall's Island. Hopefully that helps investigators. But in the meantime, the 44-year-old mother, as we said, is fighting for her life. She has yet to wake up from the coma that she was put in from her beating out here. Her family certainly hopes the person or persons responsible are caught. We're live here on Randall's Island. Arthur Chion, Fox 5 News. Steve, back to you.
So senseless. All right. Thanks, Arthur.
God, I hope she pulls through. Her kids get to see her again. Fuck, that was heartbreaking. Yeah, China just makes a gazillion of them. Over an e-bike. That's just insane. Got another one for you with the content warning. Luckily, this one has a good outcome. A young lady in Jamestown, North Carolina, was almost kidnapped.
Charles, thanks. A 16-year-old girl is safe after fighting off a man who tried to kidnap her in broad daylight. High Point police say Sunday afternoon, the teen girl was walking outside when an 18-year-old grabbed her by her jacket collar. That man, now identified as Trenton Riley, is in jail. Fox 8's Cassie Fambro talked to people living near where all this happened. And Cassie, police say he was caught after he crashed into a mailbox.
Michael, he certainly was. The mailbox was encased in red brick, so when he tried to drive away, he didn't get very far.
It's the greatest neighborhood and the safest, I will say.
A man who lives just feet away from where a kidnapping happened in Jamestown says the neighborhood is shocked.
We all know each other, great people, great neighborhood.
High Point police say a 16-year-old girl was walking along Morris Farm Drive on Sunday when 18-year-old Trenton Riley grabbed her by her collar and dragged her 20 feet, forcing her into his car. He's now charged with first-degree kidnapping, assault on a female, and interfering with emergency communication because when she dialed 911, he snatched the phone from her hands. Police say the teen fought and got away, and Riley tried to drive off.
The neighbor called me. I was about 5 minutes away. All he told me was a car had hit my mailbox.
Riley then slammed into the brick mailbox head-on. The tires cut deeply into the Gilberts' yard, destroying their mailbox and their trees.
When I arrived, there was several police units on scene, and all the neighbors out gathered looking around to see what was happening.
Police told the neighbors it was an attempted kidnapping and attempted sexual assault.
That kind of caught us off guard, and luckily law enforcement got involved and handled the situation, so we still feel pretty safe about being here.
Police also say Riley abducted the teen with the intent to force her into sexual servitude. Neighbors say it's a relief police caught the suspect, and also a reminder to stay aware no matter where you are.
That's every parent's worst nightmare, and then one of the reasons we relocated to this area just about 3 years ago. I'm just glad everybody's okay and that they were able to get that handled before it got any worse.
And Riley, the 18-year-old suspect...
I mean, according to Nancy Mace, there's all kinds of sexual predators running around in the Carolinas.
Expected to face a judge in June.
A state senator in California got arrested for DUI, but she says she didn't do it.
Sacramento police tell us they think a California state lawmaker was under the influence of drugs after a crash this week in Sacramento. This came as Senator Sabrina Cervantes was involved in a crash near 14th and S Streets. This was Monday afternoon. She suffered minor injuries and went to the hospital. Police cited her with DUI. Sacramento police clarified to KCRA 3 that Cervantes of Riverside did not have alcohol in her system after she was suspected of drunk driving. Police said in follow-up comments to KCRA 3, Cervantes had blood drawn to determine if she had drugs or alcohol in her system, and the blood work could take several days to weeks to complete. Cervantes said she was left shaken by the way police treated her at the hospital after that crash. Cervantes accused police of mistreatment. In a statement to us, she said, on Monday afternoon, while seeking care in the emergency room after my sedan was T-boned by a large SUV, I was accosted by Sacramento Police Department officers, falsely accused of driving under the influence and involuntarily detained for several hours at the hospital. She went on to say, as a senator, wife, and mother, I hold myself to the highest standard and expect others that serve our communities to do the same. She said, I want to be clear, I did nothing wrong. The lab results I sought in the hospital show conclusively I had no alcohol in my system. I expect this to be quickly and justly resolved.
I wouldn't doubt the cops falsely accused her of driving under the influence and used her, being shaken up by a accident to say that she was under the influence. I believe it. Because I've seen it happen so many fucking times. But also I've seen state senators and elected officials believe that they're above the law and go out of their way to commit crimes. We'll see. We'll see what the blood results say, but apparently it could take several weeks. But as I said, cops lie all the time. Cops just completely unsavory individuals. You've seen multiple stories tonight of cops doing bullshit. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says they're seeing a rise in the number of cops that make themselves good cops.
Nowadays, a heartbreaking trend inside the LA County Sheriff's Department with multiple suicides in just the last 2 years. Good evening. You're watching LA Live News tonight. I'm Christine Devine.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Susan Hirasuna here for Marla Tejas. The most recent suicide within the LA County Sheriff's Department happened over the weekend.
Tonight, active and retired members of the force are speaking out, urging action before more lives are lost. Fox 11's Gina Silva live with more. Gina.
Christine, Susan, everyone is extremely concerned. Now, as you know, we normally don't cover suicide.
By the way, this is supposed to be your feel-good story.
And people are sounding the alarm.
After all the crime stories.
It is so distressing and so horrific, it's hard to even get your arms around when there's one. But then you got 2, 5, 10, 12, 13 of them. Never seen anything like that before.
Cops offing themselves and making themselves good cops, I agree with. But if anybody else is experiencing suicidal ideation, I do want you to see the information that I am putting in the chat right now.
Retired LASD Captain Mike Borman is sounding the alarm over what he calls an epidemic of suicides within the LA County Sheriff's Department. 13 since 2023, including 2 involving recently retired deputies.
Thank you, Holiday.
Blames a toxic mix of poor leadership, lack of support, and chronic understaffing that's forcing deputies into mandatory double and sometimes triple shifts. Nick Wilson, founder of the Resiliency Project, a nonprofit that supports first responders, says the department is now facing 4,166 vacancies, 2,000 of them sworn positions.
The department right now, under the current management, they can't hire, they can't recruit, they can't retain deputies. You can't run your deputies into the ground and expect them to be able to actually serve the communities that they swore to protect.
The LA County Sheriff's Department issued.
I don't think they serve them anyway.
The department has been taking proactive and meaningful steps to support the mental health of every member of the department. Our Psychological Services Bureau is available.
Terry, good evening. There's plenty of people who want the job. People with little dicks.
Guidance and support, not only to our personnel, but also to their families. Well, of course,
People with little dicks and bruised egos.
on our website.
Got bullied in
It's
school.
important to say that they did stress this is a national problem. This is a crisis that is happening all over the country, and it's not just within.
Dextillion. I was in an argument with a dude the other day, and he was like, well, police departments forced cops to take the vaccine or get fired. I'm like, you know that more cops died of COVID in 2022 than died from, the job, right?
And the LASD.
Well, Gina, mental health or issues with mental health, that's a big, wide umbrella. Was the retired lieutenant, was he a little bit more specific? Is it fatigue? Is it what else could be causing these suicides?
It's fatigue, the sense of hopelessness is what I was told. They're so tired, they don't have any time to spend with their families.
Oh my God, did we just have a shooting right behind her?
Of course,
There's a car backfiring.
there's a lot of fear to speak up and say, I need help, because that could be considered weak. And that is something that, of course, those who are trying to provide the help are saying, no, that's not the case. You're showing strength by asking for help.
And bravery.
Well, Gina, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. Are your sources, they're talking about the resources that are available or nonprofits that are offering services or anything tailored to law enforcement?
There are several agencies that provide that type of help. The Resiliency Project is one of those. There's also a hotline that people can just call and ask for help, have someone to talk to about some of the problems that they are facing. So if they want help, it is out there.
It is out there, but the culture says you don't say anything. You stay strong, but you don't say anything.
Hopefully that's changing.
That blue code.
So much.
Yeah, that was supposed to be your feel-good story of the day. Sorry. Figured my chat would enjoy it. I'm gonna hit the content warning for this one. Just because it's heartwarming. But some people might see a puppy in distress and get a little stressed. This boxer saved a French bulldog's life. The owner was gone. The boxer was able to save the bulldog. He was seizing out. Knew something was wrong with his little buddy. Saved his life. What a fucking hero. What a fucking... We do not deserve dogs. We don't deserve animals. They're so wonderful. Look at this baby. The bulldog's having a seizure. What did I say? There's a pity? A pity saving the bulldog? Boxer. As a boxer saved the French bulldog's life. The owner was gone. Bulldog was having a seizure. I guess it's like one of those things where you got to keep him from swallowing his tongue and shit like that. So moving around like that's probably good. French bulldogs are the one, like, we bred them poorly, right? Oh, I love pitties too. Like that's humans breeding. Oh, I should holiday. You're right. But French bulldogs, we've bred them to be fucking monstrosities, haven't we? I like all puppies. I like all animals. They're my friends. If you missed my little rant at the beginning of the show, I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I've been feeling kind of burnt out. Not necessarily with the Troll Patrol. I love the show. I love doing the show. I will do this forever. I'm burnt out sitting behind a computer all the fucking time. My eyes are going bad on me. It's causing me to have headaches and shit. So I've been taking a little more time off than usual. It is my birthday weekend this weekend, so I will not be here Saturday. Might be here Friday, I don't know. Might not be here tomorrow. Probably be here Monday. We'll certainly be here on Tuesday. It's Memorial Weekend, so hey, there's a time to take some time off. Tuesday's my birthday. If you want to come by and tell me happy birthday. We'll do a show on Sunday night. Oh, Terry, happy birthday to you. Another Gemini. Or are you... Yeah, you're a Gemini. Yeah, the holiday is this weekend. Memorial... Yeah, it's Memorial Weekend. Sorry, Cicero. Monday is Memorial Day. Memorial Weekend is this weekend. Are you saying my birthday is not Memorial Weekend? Because it certainly is. Or it's usually on Memorial Weekend. This time it falls, on a Tuesday. So that's kind of my thing, always having the pool parties when I was a kid and stuff. Kira's coming over. She's making me peanut butter fudge lasagna. That's my dessert this year. I'm looking at different restaurants. I don't know exactly where I want to go. Probably it's an American restaurant, but they serve sushi and it's really highly rated, so I might go there. It's like a fucking burger bar that has sushi and the sushi's highly rated. So I think because I usually do sushi on my birthday. I'm trying to put together possibly a roast of Justin Freakin that might take place the next weekend in honor of my birthday. Producer Dave has agreed to host it. I have some people lined up, but some things are still up in the air. And also, my general malaise. I'm going to go play some video games. I bought Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. I've been playing the shit out of those, so that's what I'm going to go do. And might do that the rest of the weekend. So if I don't see you tomorrow night, I'll see you on Sunday. Go ahead. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. Twitch people, you're heading over to the